I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
With Kevin Bowen.
Watch it!
On 93.5 and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Certainly football weather on this Friday morning. Kevin Bowen and Charlie Clifford rounding things out for you. This week on the Fan Morning Show, the state finals, or the run, I should say, to the state finals begins tonight all across the state of Indiana. We've got Indiana, Purdue, and Notre Dame all back in action after some bye weeks for those respective teams here in October, and obviously a big one Sunday night, Colts and 49ers, 8:20 kick from San Francisco. I know next Sunday, Charlie, is like the game of the year, which is
a playoff game.
It's wild to say when it's Halloween, but that is what Colts Titans will be to the Colts next week. But you look at Sunday night, man, both of these teams, they really could use this, considering, I think it's fair to say, slowish starts for both of these franchises.
The 49ers are where the Colts were 2-3 weeks ago, 0-3. They've lost 3 in a row. John Lynch, the GM, has to do a sit-down with the team media guy this past week and have to talk of a crisis out west. I mean, this is a team that's...
And when you're in that division 2 and 3, it feels like a crisis.
Exactly. They don't have the luxury of the beautiful AFC South.
God, it's
beautiful. I think Colts fans should keep that in mind. I know we'll touch on it today. External pressure, prime time, everything that goes into it. I know once the ball's kicked, they're professionals. That goes out the window. But San Fran is reeling. Granted, they've lost to some good teams. It's really a similar story, Kev, of just not being able to get marquee wins.
Right.
And a quarterback that's dealt with an injury. Jimmy Garoppolo, it looks by all accounts, is going to play, coming off a calf injury. But time to get one if you're Carson Wentz and Frank Reich in this defense.
Yeah, you know, these teams have similar resumes. I would say the Colts come in playing much better football as of late.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, as you said, these teams have combined for 4 wins. The Dolphins and Texans for the Colts, the Lions and the Eagles.
There you go.
For the 49ers. And like you just said, the 49ers have lost 3 in a row, all one-possession games, to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, good football team.
Yep.
The Packers, a good football team. And the undefeated Cardinals, who they held to 17 points. So
played well.
When I see the line at San Francisco favored by 4.5, I think that's a little high, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, well, you know, they have been very, very competitive. Their defense seems to be playing well. Who knows coming off the bye week? And then something we'll hit on here a little bit later. Mother Nature is going to be rearing her ugly head at this one Sunday night.
It's going to be nasty. You look at the turnover margin. That's where advantage Colts. You pump that as much as you can, +7 to a -5. San Francisco just hasn't been able to take the ball away. You're all in probably dialing back to that Super Bowl defense that was so nasty that really had the game won before Mahomes pulled out one of the great fourth quarter performances we've seen.
With DeForest Buckner doing a whole lot in that game.
Buckner, the wrecking ball up front. Outside of Nick Bosa, this team, it doesn't scare you. It doesn't scare you.
I think that's what scares you, though, is that edge presence.
Totally.
Bosa and then opposite D Ford, who I know isn't the same D Ford, but when I think of Eric Fisher,
100%.
It looks like Matt Pryor again at right tackle. That to me is the scariest item.
You see a lot of tight ends with help. You're going to see JT. I mean, you can still queue up the screen game to an extent, which we've fallen in love with the last 2 weeks, but that will all be discussed. I'm sure that is priority one, as you said. Limit the catastrophic opportunities for Bosa.
Charlie Clifford, Wish TV, has been with us the last 2 days here on the Fan Morning Show. It's at CliffWish8, and he joins us here from 7 to 10
Appreciate
a.m. Injury report-wise, it couldn't get any worse, I guess, and obviously the Julian Blackmon torn Achilles was the topic of the day yesterday. I do want to hit on a little bit of Blackmon here in just a second, but let's focus on T.Y. Hilton, because right now, the guys we have not seen practice this week. Braden Smith, so he's out. Kamoko Turi, I'd say likely out. Rock Yassin, I would say falls in that category. And then Jordan Wilkins, with this illness, continues to miss time. Hilton is the other one that's on that list who has not practiced yet. If there's any player that could play with limited practice time or no practice time, it's Hilton. My question for you, Charlie, though, is given his injury, given the lack of practice time he's had this season, and the fact that you just lost Paris Campbell for a substantial amount of time, does Hilton need to practice today in order to play Sunday?
No. Frank Reich, we've seen him bend this rule very, very infrequently.
So the fact that it's a quad, he's had this injury before, he has barely practiced over a month, that doesn't matter.
I think if the doctors green light it, then no. I don't think Frank Reich's going to create something in his mind. I know you're still going to play the risk-reward game. Hey, we're 7 weeks in. The bye, as we've talked about the last 2 days, not coming anytime soon.
No.
But from what we heard from TY yesterday, I'm in a good spot, but I still have stuff to do. Translation, medical testing, getting through, I assume, whatever he needs to pass behind the scenes. And as you said, if that doesn't mean he's ready to go for practice today, from what we saw this past week, I set his over-under at like 45 last week. Granted, you pick up 52 on one play, but I just thought in general his legs were there. But we do know that the history here, he's had the injury once, he missed a week, so this would technically be pushing it. That injury was 2 years ago, so that's the playbook we can go off of as of right now.
When you look at the weather for Sunday night, and I'm not going to act like
it's a great point. How much are you going to throw it?
You're right. I'm not going to act like I'm insert your local meteorologist here, but from weather.com, Charlie, which can be about as reliable as seems like paved roads in Indianapolis.
That was harsh.
Yeah, well, true. I think 61 degrees, not bad at all. 99% chance of rain.
So you're telling me there's a chance? I knew it was an S. KB.
Winds 25.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Dykton dialed in.
Winds
707.
25 to 35 miles per hour. Flooding type rain is what they are saying for Sunday night.
To me, the wind just as much as the rain. Okay,
right.
You say 61. Bay Area baseball. Watching the Giants. Granted, they're right off the water. That is not going to feel like 61. I'm trying to remember the last Colts game, Kev, where weather was really a predominant issue. Obviously, the Buffalo game with the snow.
Boy.
But if you remember, our last run-in with Carson Wentz as an Eagle in Philadelphia, that game was spitting. An Eagles win in which Wentz really led that victory. Believe that was the year we had Luck back, which would have been 2018. But it's been a while since you've seen this team in elements. It'll be the story ahead of kickoff without question.
And, I don't know about you, but, doesn't that favor the Colts?
JT? Have you seen?
And now, I do want to make something clear. I think a lot of the big Taylor runs this year, Charlie, have been a little bit more perimeter-oriented.
Sure, you're right.
A little bit more outside. So, maybe you can't tap into that as much. But if you get Quentin Nelson back, theoretically, you should be able to run downhill at a San Francisco team that's a little banged up in the interior of their defensive line right now. And when I think of San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, I think of a whole lot of lateral movement kind of pre-snap. Very innovative run game, a little bit more predicated on speed than I think the Colts are. So again, if Jonathan Taylor can channel his Wisconsin-ness, where I'm sure he played in some games like we could see Sunday night.
The majority of games.
Mother Nature-wise, I think that would tend to favor the Colts a little bit.
Yes, and, as you said, it starts up front on both sides. You wonder, with Nelson coming back, I'm sure this is far from the ideal situation. We would have liked him probably at home, no questions asked. How has he looked, I guess, from what you've seen?
Yeah, hard to say.
Is it all wrapped up, or are you going to notice, I assume he's not going to be playing with a free ankle?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Obviously, he didn't miss a ton of time. 3 weeks right now.
Yeah, the minimum.
Now, he's not even on the injury report because technically he's still on injured reserve. So we don't even know if he's limited full, those sorts of designations that you would throw out there. I'm just going off of Path Nelson, and I've been quick to point out when we've talked about Nelson this year of let's not just go straight Superman right away because the guy's had 3 surgeries in 12 months.
Yeah, the back hasn't been right.
Yeah, the back lingers, now the high ankle sprain, all that. So Honestly, even without Nelson, you would think the downhill, straight-ahead run game should be something that will favor the Colts. We'll have Greg Rakestraw on at 8 o'clock, Matt Taylor at 9 to get their thoughts more on this as well. We obviously talked a whole lot of Julian Blackmon yesterday and just how big of a blow this is. We mentioned some of the free agency names. I know you were kind of drawn towards Kenny Vaccaro as a name out there. One name internally that I want to ask Frank Reich about today that we saw play a whole lot of safety in training camp is TJ Carey. Brought over here in last offseason, 2020 offseason, re-signed this past offseason. Extremely durable in his career, known for his versatility and really just kind of his mental aptitude, the ability to play a whole lot of spots. But he suffered an injury in, I want to say, the preseason opener. And unless you recall the injury, Charlie, it was either a knee or a groin, and he went on injured reserve.
Yep.
Now, how severe was that injury? Like TJ Carey, it was kind of up in the air if he would even make the team a little bit, so I don't think we put a whole lot of stock into that injury. And now this is a guy that, again, lined up as a lot of first-team safety as the Colts were kind of trial and erroring some guys at Grand Park. If he can get back, and I have no idea where he's at in his rehab, he is an in-house candidate, Charlie, that I know we kind of wrote off a lot of those guys yesterday. Maybe he could factor into some things.
Well, I like your path you're on. Weeks. As you mentioned, he's stepped in and has blended in for the most part.
Remember last year, Rocky Scene struggling, TJ Carey ends the year.
Essentially became the starter, right?
Right,
yeah.
Right.
That's a good one. And props to you for dialing back the Grand Park notebook, which you have to flip through like 46 pages.
Yeah, a little bit. And,
nobody takes better notes than
about a
Kev
monsoon on the final day at Grand Park.
Yeah,
so, maybe this is reminiscent of what we're going to see Sunday night.
That was a mess. I thought the thing was going to blow over. We were inside that night.
Brendan King and I doing radio in the morning, being like, "Boy, I don't want to end it right here."
Batten down the hatches,
middle of a cornfield in Westfield. But
the number one point of your idea there is just timetable, right?
Yeah, and it's an unknown.
Sure, but definitely worth a question. And as you said, yes, you're subtracting from cornerback depth there, but more glaring need right now, clearly finding someone who can give you 60 to 70% of what Blackmon was giving you.
Right.
I'm just so interested. And really, it's a break for Matt Eberflus, drawing back to the weather. Deebo Samuel has been a different player this year.
No George Kittle, but Deebo Samuel is explosive.
And he's had to be for them because the weaponry is not there for Kyle Shanahan. But in terms of tracking down Samuel after the catch, elusive beyond belief. And thankfully for Matt Eberflus, you probably aren't going to have to deal with anything like a normal Sunday due to the conditions. Hopefully Sunday night.
Yeah, if for some reason this rain, this wind doesn't develop as much, your plan for Deebo Samuel, I think he has 2 touchdowns over 70 yards already this season.
Yeah, he's got $160 and $180 plus in
we're
2
talking
games.
big plays from him. And obviously one of their higher picks, Brandon Ayuk, their other high pick at wideout, has not developed as much there. So we'll get Charlie's thoughts a little bit on Jimmy G as well. Sounds like he will be the guy. I know Charlie has some background with him. I do want to touch on Carson Wentz. We haven't talked a whole lot Carson specifically this week. Get Charlie's thoughts on what he's seen through the first 6 games as well. And then we mentioned Julian Blackmon. Is there kind of an in-house candidate, non-TJ Carey division that maybe you can move to find a new safety as well? I think that's something that we didn't touch on yesterday that we can hit on as well. Again, Greg Rakestraw, 8 o'clock, Matt Taylor, 9 o'clock, KBowen1070 on Twitter, at CliffWish8 on Twitter. Fan Morning Show, 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Indy 11's back home again this Saturday for Fan Appreciation Night, driven by your Central Indiana Honda dealers. Get tickets for the 7 p.m. home finale now at Indy11.com.
The house you're living in could cost you less. You've just got to refinance to one of these insanely low mortgage rates. Guys, it's Stan Dockich for my friends at American Financing, reminding you that there's never been a better time to get a free mortgage review. There's no obligation, no upfront fees, just a simple conversation around which program may be a better fit. Rates really are at all-time lows, and chances are you can benefit. Even if you refinanced or bought a home last year, you still may be eligible. It could mean lowering your monthly payments plus tens of thousands of dollars in long-term savings without restarting your term. You know what else? You may even be able to postpone 2 mortgage payments, creating even greater upfront savings. So don't put a refinancing off any longer. Rates won't stay this low forever. Call 463-223-1418. That's 463-223-1418 or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hey, it's Stan Dockich, and you've heard me talk about how awesome Indiana Grand Racing and Casino is. Well, Saturday, October 30th, is Champions Day at the track with more than $1 million in total purse money on the line. When the first post time starts at noon, I'll be live on site with a special edition of the Dan Dockich Show. In addition to 9 stakes races featuring the state's top thoroughbreds and quarter horses, Champions Day at Indiana Grand will have a cigar rolling station with freebies for the first 200 people, 5 $1,000 mega bet drawings, merchandise giveaways, strolling entertainment, and live DJs, 3 $10,000 family leisure shopping spree drawings, and even a Headless Horseman appearance. All ages welcome, plus admission and parking are free. Racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating indoors or out. Bottom line, this is one you don't want to miss. It's Champions Day Saturday, October 30th at Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Join me at noon.
Are you an HVAC technician, plumber, or sewer and drain specialist? Are you dissatisfied with your current employer? Have you been laid off or had your hours reduced now that the busy season is ending? Then call Vasey Commercial Facility Solutions. They're hiring experienced industrial commercial technicians. Get full benefits and true work-life balance. Call Vasey now at 317-873-2512. That's Vasey, 317-873-2512. Or go to Vasey.com to learn more.
This is a message for all men. After trying the little blue pill, my family doctor said my ED was incurable unless I had surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't that important to her, but I knew it was deep down inside. I felt less of a man, less of a husband without that intimacy. I was embarrassed. But all of that changed the day I called the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and made an appointment. My wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. It's truly amazing what they've done for us. Indianapolis Men's Clinic resolved my ED and my low testosterone all in one place. Thanks, guys. No matter your age, your condition, or if you suffer from Peyronie's disease, we can help. $99 for a physician evaluation, test dose, and testosterone checkup. Call now 317-999-9000. That's 999-9000. Or at IndyMen'sClinic.com.
Get up and go now so you can go tonight.
The NBA is back, and at DraftKings Sportsbook, an authorized sports betting partner of the NBA, the key to victory is a strong starting 5. New customers can bet just $5 on any NBA team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. So why not make your roster Washington, 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 and oh yeah, Washington. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with the new same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you win. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code WFNI. Bet just $5 on any NBA team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. That's code WFNI this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You got to be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We've done it again.
Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With a 1.875% rate and home values up, you can get more cash out now.
Call 317-706-GOLD today and make no mortgage payments until next year.
Golden Oak Lending.
NMLS 114937. 1.875% fixed. 2.952% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3-cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
All right, Big O Tires Sports Center update time here on The Fan. Colts and 49ers, Sunday at 8:20. Final practice of the week for the Colts. Xavier Rhodes was added to the injury report yesterday with an ankle injury, so that's something just to keep an eye on. Kwity Paye and Tyquan Lewis did return to practice. Yesterday was the first time we heard from Colts players about the loss of Julian Blackmon. Here is Darius Leonard on losing number 32.
It's going to be a tough loss for our defense because, there's nobody who's, a ball hawk like he does. And, he has great ball skills. He comes up the field when that's a mishap in the front end. He's there to make the tackle. And, that's going to be tough to find someone to take over his spot. Yeah, that's a tough loss. I just I feel very bad for him.
Again, that's the thing for me, Charlie. This is a guy that is able to make plays at multiple levels of the defense. And if you're talking about Sunday nights, George Odom, Andrew Sendejo,
get ready.
That's got to be where you go, right?
Get ready for a couple, as we said, by committee, I think, in the short term. And Darius Leonard opening up on his ankle, KB, saying, look, I'm cheating alignments. I'm doing everything I can. If you notice, whenever I have a takeaway, I run to the sideline as opposed to upfield, trying to avoid any shot on his ankle. Absolute dog, Darius Leonard, reaffirming that again this season.
Yeah, that was very candid by Leonard, something we'll hit on a little bit later. It's crazy. At 215 pounds, he pretty much is like, all I can do right now is play in the box. and typically, that's not kind of where his strength necessarily is, but he's been able to get the ball out just as well as he had in those first couple seasons at a Hall of Fame level, really.
No, how much do you think it limits Eberflus's creativity? Because we've been all over Flus about dialing different things up.
Yeah, again, it's something I think I want to hit on a little bit later, just how you evaluate Leonard. It's such a tough dilemma for me right here through 6 weeks. There's no debating, though, the guy's gutting it out and has barely missed any time. I think he didn't play the final handful of snaps against Houston, and that's it. He's been on the field for every single defensive snap. It'll be Jimmy Garoppolo under center Sunday for the 49ers. Trey Lance has not practiced, so it doesn't even look like you need to get ready for the Trey Lance package. So that'll make San Francisco look a whole lot different. One wrinkle to this game, Charlie. San Fran coming off a bye. The Colts coming off of Monday and Sunday. So the Colts have actually played 2 games since the last time San Francisco has played a game.
It's a great point.
And now you're traveling, multiple time zones away.
The deck, I should say, stacked against you a bit, but Garoppolo coming off the calf injury, he hasn't played in essentially 3 weeks by the time kickoff rolls around. So depends just the lens you look at things.
Yeah, for sure.
And, of course, the Colts playing much better football, as we mentioned at the top of the show, than the Niners at the moment.
All right, Pacers, they will have a back-to-back this weekend. Tonight, it is against the Wizards. Our coverage begins at 6:30 following Colts happy hour. Tomorrow, the home opener. Again, our coverage starts at 6:30 against the Miami Heat. Wizards 1-0. They beat the Raptors 98-83. And how about the Heat last night? Holy hell.
Tyler Hero.
40 in the first quarter. Hero with over 20 off the bench.
He's returned from the bubble. He took a year and a half off.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the man we all thought he was. And thank goodness tonight, no Russell Westbrook. You do not have to deal with 40, 20, and 10 Pacer fans. Enjoy your Friday night viewing.
Yeah, Bradley Beal will probably go for 50 instead. Although Bradley Beal is questionable, so that's something to keep an eye on. But the Heat absolutely just thrashed the Bucks last night with Giannis playing 137-95. I think maybe the ring hangover
a little bit
finally hit the Bucks.
KB, you know who I watched play hoops last night in person?
Who'd you watch?
Lance Stevenson.
Oh, wow.
Pick up downtown. I'm not going to tell you where. Jeff Teague was in the house. Ton of former Purdue Boilers, Butler Bulldogs.
How'd Lancey look?
Somebody's got to sign Lance, man. He's ready to go.
Can he play safety for the Colts?
You know what? We need to get to that later. But he tells everybody hello, man. He's been around town a little bit, and he's waiting for a call.
One of a kind, to say the least.
Oh, same old Lance.
You know, if I would have thought about that question more, I would have been like, all right, where's Charlie Clifford? I assume within driving distance. Where is he watching?
Yeah, it wasn't far. It wasn't
Someone
far.
Of note there. What do you think? You need a split this weekend?
In terms of the Pacers?
Yeah.
If Duarte goes for 40 in both, I'm good for 2 losses. But yeah, let's win the one at home. Let's get the field house packed again and checking out all the new renovations, which people are going to be blown away. It's incredible.
Speaking of Chris Duarte, he was on with JMV yesterday and talked about his rookie debut on Wednesday night.
I've never been in a situation like that. So, I like that, that hyped me up. But it feels crazy for me, Before it was a dream. Now, I'm living it up. So, my focus was just going out there and just being me, playing my game and be confident.
There's just a realness to him, Charlie.
Again, the rookie tag, it feels a lot like, although Jimmy Johnson's success didn't line up, like there's no point in calling this guy rookie. He's ready to go. He's 24. But in that moment, to have that kind of a game, you could tell post-game Rick Carlisle, despite the sour loss, just absolutely astounded with what he saw in Charlotte.
And honestly, right now the Pacers need is scoring. Again, Karis LeVert going to miss these 2 games. TJ Warren's not coming back anytime soon. We'll see if the rotation expands. That's something I'll be keeping an eye on here, especially with a back-to-back this weekend. The Pacers then looking ahead to Monday. The Bucks come over to Gamebridge Fieldhouse. All right, Major League Baseball. These series are still going on. Last night, the Dodgers bats finally woke up. Chris Taylor, 3 home runs. H.A. Pollock, the Notre Dame product.
Yes.
With a couple home runs. And that was a 10-run rule last night.
Yeah, Chris Taylor, game of his life, as Brian Anderson said on the broadcast. L.A. not dead yet. I know outside of L.A., folks are probably upset about that, but that was a vintage, just a classic, I should say, performance out of Chris Taylor. What were the odds on Taylor hitting 3 home runs last night? Somebody made out big. Huge. If you threw something on that.
11-2 officially, so just short of the old 10-run rule. They have now won 7 straight elimination games.
You know what? As opposed to teams we've seen in the AL Central and NL Central, just not being able to get it done in the postseason. Go back to that Manny Ramirez series as a Cub fan in like 05. They're lethal. They're lethal. You do not want to see LA.
Game 6 Saturday, and they will give the ball to one Max Scherzer. We'll see how effective Scherzer can be in a start there. But again, that series now shifts back to Atlanta with the Braves leading 3-2. In the ALCS, Game 6 is tonight. The Red Sox and the Astros. The Red Sox looking to stay alive with Houston leading 3-2. If they are able to force a Game 7, that will be on Saturday night with the Dodgers and the Braves playing at 5:08. Quickly, your picks there on who advances to the
I'm sticking with Houston. I'm riding with Dusty Baker. I know they are not the favorite in terms of what's going on there, but they're the better offense. Outside of the NL, I'm waiting to see this thing go 7. I think we get
same.
We get
Sign
7
me up for
games.
7.
Yeah, we need 1 7-gamer, right?
Thursday night.
Where are you at?
I will go with Astros, and I think I'm going to go Dodgers.
Okay.
Call me crazy. I'm going to go Dodgers in this one. I feel like something to the effect of been there, done that.
Sure.
Is at least going to lead that to a 7-game series, and I think they win that series. Speaking of 7, I was unsure if the Broncos were going to get to 7 points last night. They actually did. They cut it to 17-14 against the Browns with Case Keenum under center for the Browns with 5 minutes to go, and the Browns just said, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt. Here's Darius Johnson. 146, and they iced the game. Literally. They didn't give the ball back to the Broncos.
Ernest Johnson. Remember the name. Over 6.5 per carry. Carried 22 times. I'll credit you. Me and Dyke did. We were all thinking Teddy on the road. No questions asked. Mark, you got any apologies to folks out there?
No,
lost some people some money.
I didn't feel confident in that pick anyway. I mean, it was the beat up Browns and then the Broncos. So it was not. I just threw stuff against them.
Melvin Gordon. You know what Where's he been, man?
I was just glad he scored a touchdown. I had him scoring a touchdown, but yeah, it
receiving
was,
touchdown.
Yeah, I was gonna say rushing wise, it did not go well.
8 for 18.
Browns now 4-3. Broncos 3-4, and that last night by the Browns, that's a little bit of what the Colts need to tap into. Of your depth is seriously tested. You don't win the prettiest looking game, but that's one thing I do like about Cleveland. Not to give Mike Wells' team some hope here, but they are balanced, and I think that is a huge component to kind of surviving depth.
And they played well at home, 3-1. I love 50% of the pregame coverage is OBJ going to play 2 for 23. That's your typical, national vacuum there, unfortunately.
We will get to a lot of college football here in a bit. Give our picks: Purdue, Wisconsin, IU, Ohio State, Notre Dame, USC. Did want to mention Reggie Miller selected to the NBA's 75th anniversary team. Basically, you're looking at the top 75 players in NBA history. I'm going to have Mark tweet out the video basically last night on Inside the NBA?
Yes. Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA on TNT, one of the great pregame shows out there. They announced to Reggie, who was at the Warriors game, that he had made that team, and it's just a really cool moment, very raw and real from Reggie Miller. So well-deserved on that
3-1.
All right, we come back here on the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, Charlie Clifford get into a little bit of Carson Wentz chatter. Greg Rakestraw, 8 o'clock. Matt Taylor, 9 o'clock. Fan Morning Show.
Your home for the Major League Baseball playoffs and the World Series. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
There is nothing like playoff baseball and nothing like the winnings you can have over on PropSwap. Luke Pergandy, owner of PropSwap, is on the line with us now. And Luke, I think something that is just one of the beauties of PropSwap is you can have multiple winners. One ticket can continue to keep cashing for people, and you guys have a story about that with the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, both of these series have been such back and forth grinds. This Red Sox bet with this PropSwap customer bet $100 at 30-1 odds, and the Red Sox win the World Series. Got it in late September. In the past 2 weeks alone, literally just in the month of October, that $100 30-1 bet has sold 4 separate times.
Oh my gosh!
Everyone has made money on this single $100 30-1 bet.
And again, with the Astros up 3-2 right now, these people are winners, yet it looks like the Red Sox could be done with their season here very shortly. Did I see an Astros ticket that like 5-1 odds that just sold as well, Luke?
Yeah, we've been selling a ton of Astros tickets. We sold one that's 5-1. We sold a ticket at 3-1 that would cash for $20,000 if the Astros win the World Series. It's just been such a back and forth Boston, Houston, ALCS. And then even on the other side, too, we've been selling Dodgers and Braves tickets. That's been relatively back and forth, too. And again, with us, you can buy and sell after every win. Every single game in a given series is making someone money.
And one thing I want to mention quickly, go out to Winner Circle, wherever you guys are buying sports props, and find a Chris Duarte NBA Rookie of the Year ticket. Those odds are only going to shrink, folks. And with Duarte playing as much as he did on Wednesday night, this is your chance to pounce on it before those odds really shrink. And then that's where you can make some action on PropSwap. So check out PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
We've done it again.
While other lenders are talking about raising their rates, our expert team at Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With the low rate of 1.875% and home values at all-time highs, you can get more cash out of your home or eliminate pricey mortgage insurance.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get your refinance started within minutes and make no mortgage payments until next year.
After all, our team speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. We can save you even more money with our 1.875% rate.
Plus, you'll never pay up front for your appraisal at Golden Oak. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, it's JMV for the best. It's Mark Deedle. Mark Deedle Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com. Listen, if I were somebody out there actively looking to move, whether it's downsizing or upgrading, there's only person I'm going to call. There's no doubt about that, is Mark Dietel, because he is the best. And I love the guarantees. Multiple offers in 3 days, or he is going to sell it for you absolutely free. That's what Mark Dietel does. And you know what? Here's Sean and Alex from Indianapolis, excited with a new baby, and they needed a larger space. They wanted to upgrade. What did they do? They got a hold of Mark Dietel and got the job done right. That's what he's going to do for you. Get it done. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com today.
BetRivers Sportsbook wants you to be in control of your football bets. That's why players love the same game parlays at BetRivers. Same game parlays let you mix and match player props and game bets, and gives a payout boost to the winning combinations you want to root for. Combine 2 bets or combine many. You pick your confidence level and then watch the game unfold. Bet on same-game parlays at BetRivers.com or download the BetRivers app. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
A new season. A new QB. A new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Fridays. Every week, join JMV beginning at 3 for Cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games.
Hey, JMV, join me later on this afternoon at Gigi's Bar and Grill, 71st and Graham Road, for your chance at Titans tickets.
JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe.
I'll see you later on this afternoon at Gigi's Bar and Grill.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Maxine. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, I love mentoring the new associates to help them make this a career and not just a job.
And with new opportunities and job stability, Geico has been helping people grow their careers for over 75 years. The only downside, she still hasn't met the gecko. Where are you, fella?
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
Denny Smith here. Don't let the chilly temps fool you. It's prime time to plant trees and shrubs. Save 20% on all nursery stock now through the 24th of October at Sundown Gardens. Many shade and ornamental trees available, plus a large selection of shrubs and grasses for your landscape. And don't forget to visit their pumpkin patch to select the perfect carving pumpkins for Halloween. Wagon rides and kids' activities are available on weekends through the 31st. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road or sundown.gardens.com.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Charlie Clifford from Wish TV and with us again here on the Fan Morning Show.
We're speaking the sunshine into existence here for this weekend.
I don't know if we have those powers. Yeah, tonight, not going to be great for the first round of sectionals.
No, I think we're just going to get a full weekend of ugly from here to Sunday night in San Fran, as we touched on at the top of the show. Colts fans, I don't know how much Kyle Shanahan or Frank Reich are going to be able to dial up their expertise. You have two of the best play designers in the NFL going toe-to-toe, and unfortunately, Mother Nature is going to swoop in and pretty much cross off anything you would have expected normally.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly Sunday night in San Fran. We'll see the tarp situation pregame and just exactly what it looks like when things kick off. But it might be time to hammer that under. 44-ish,
yes.
I think I saw. Colts are a 4.5-point underdog. You've got a little history with Jimmy G, right?
Yes. I don't want to make it sound like we're best friends, or even if I walked up to him, he'd probably give you the look like, I know this guy from somewhere. Jimmy G, KB, used to watch me play rec league hoops senior year of high school. How about that?
Okay.
Not that he paid to get in the front door, but this is the story of Jimmy Garoppolo. Went to my rival high school. If you've flown in or out of O'Hare Airport in Chicago, 5 minutes from there. Public high schools, not a football powerhouse region by any means, but you'd get a sprinkle of D1 guys, predominantly linemen.
Give us some names. High school.
The top name of all time, who you're going to love, Tom Zibikowski.
Oh, gosh.
I watched Tom Zibikowski.
I think I still have a crush on him.
5th and 6th grade, the meanest dude you'll ever see. All-American track star, of course. It was well known he was already going to Notre Dame, entering his senior year. Unfortunately for Zib, who I'm pretty tight with, he fumbled his senior year on the 1-yard line trying to walk in a score to go to the state title against my Prospect Knights. Took his helmet to his forehead. Crazy. Anywho, Garoppolo, junior year of high school, was not even a collegiate prospect. Our quarterback was going to U of I, who's a big deal, great guy to this day. He took off late junior year, senior year. Eastern Illinois, still the only team to bite, a 1AA team at the time. And by the end of senior year, it was clear that EIU had a steal. He goes down there, plays right away, lights it up. Next Tony Romo. The draft buzz is there. And then for Bill Belichick to pick up the phone and call his name, the rest is history.
But second round, right?
Second round. Great guy. Literally down to earth. One of the dudes in terms of, kind of had some mutual friends that went to junior high with him that are still very close to him. But yeah, I mean, selfishly this offseason, I was kind of like, are they going to take the bait and bring Jimmy G to Indy? Because that would be cool. That'd be nice to rekindle that a little bit. But very happy with the man we have, Kevin, and Carson Wentz, which I think that's where most Colts fans sit heading into Week 7.
Yeah, we're obviously in our own little bubble here with Wentz and just, all right, is he the guy? He seems like he's shown that he can be the guy through 6 weeks. Out in San Francisco, it's a little bit different because the backup is who everyone wants to see, really. So for Jimmy G come Sunday night and just moving forward, this is probably the last chance for him to prove himself. If it's not out there, maybe to the rest of the NFL, because Trey Lance is obviously the guy eventually. He's banged up right now. So in different ways, there's pressure on both of these quarterbacks. But to your point, Carson Wentz has clearly handled things well. And I cannot stress enough, Charlie, through 6 weeks, how impressed I have been in his ability to get the ball down the field, yet still protect it at an extraordinarily high level. This dude was benched for the final 4 games last season, yet still led the NFL in interceptions.
Right.
That's really hard to do. Here we are going into Week 7, 1 pick on a shovel pass, and the Pro Football Focus stats we saw earlier in the week of throws at least 10 yards down the field. His passer rating is 147.8. That is
hard to illustrate how incredible that number is.
That is extraordinarily high. Perfect passer ratings in the 150s.
Yeah.
And he's thrown 7 touchdowns, when he's gotten the ball vertical. So, I just think that's such a big part of quarterback play. I think the days of kind of dink and dunking your way down the field, sooner or later, you've got to, even Brady gets it vertical.
Yes.
You've got to try and force that against a defense. That, to me, has been the most impressive thing with Wentz so far.
I loved your stat on Kevin's Corner Pod earlier this week, the next gen stat, getting a little nerdy here, but I believe it was the average throw through air for each completion this past week, nearly double every quarterback in the NFL minus Derek Carr.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just tells you what we saw against Seattle and the Los Angeles Rams at home. It felt almost defensive in the way Frank Reich was calling plays. Almost if you go back to early when Andrew Luck came back in 2018. The full playbook clearly wasn't there. You were almost training wheels mode. And quickly, even going through a severe right high ankle sprain, you've totally seen now Frank Reich and Carson Wentz on the aggressive the last 2 weeks. Both weeks, yards per attempt, over 11. That is extraordinarily high.
Huge.
That number in Tennessee was under 5.25. So just in that short amount of time, you've jumped there.
And obviously Tennessee, he couldn't move.
No. So keep that in perspective. But as you said, the turnover, that is really what gets you excited. Of quarterbacks that have played every game this year, he's the only quarterback left with a single interception. So that tells you the decision-making, much like Phillip Rivers, who came in here, oh my gosh, he was just heaving it. You looked at the tape, trying to play hero ball on a team that was trying to find something. I felt it was very similar last year with Carson Wentz. Not only has he gotten to Phillips' level of last year, he's exceeded that through 6 weeks, which I think none of us expected anything remotely like this in the early going of his tenure in Indy.
No, especially with all the time he missed. We almost forget that. We forget the Tennessee game a little bit. Obviously, all the missed time in training camp, that adds, I think, to how impressed I've been. A couple hurdles obviously remain. Maintaining availability has always been kind of a question in his career, so he needs to continue to do that. And then I think inevitably, it's weird, Charlie, the Colts have not been in many just like late game situations. You're down 3 and your offense is taking over with 4 minutes to go. We saw a little bit of that with the Rams.
They've been in one, really, which was Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that drive to set up a potential game-winning field goal.
Right. And, it's just like compared to other teams dating back to last year, I didn't feel like Rivers was in a ton of those situations either. Obviously, Buffalo was one of them. But, like, that is where quarterbacks make their money. So I think that is kind of the next hurdle of, like, you've beaten Miami and you've beaten Houston. What happens when you are facing better teams? It is a fourth quarter, and you got to go back and forth. You've got to sling it a little bit against an opposing quarterback. I think that is just another hurdle. But so far,
in the next 2 weeks,
you could
see
the
assumption is we're going to get that.
Right.
I do not see either being a blowout Colts win unless, as we pointed to, San Francisco's turnover woes really just come out early and you throw in the weather. But you're right. It's I would put him down, though, as 1-for-1 through 6 weeks, considering what we saw at Baltimore. But it is odd. Yeah. It's very odd.
Trade deadline a week from Tuesday. James is on the line. Wants to talk a little Marlon Mack trade. What's up, James?
Love it.
Hey, thanks. Good show, man. Hey, I want to ask you if you think he'll be traded. I believe he will. And with his past ties to Kansas City, I really think that I'm fearful that if we do trade him to Kansas City, let's say, for example, or anyone else, or we're going to give him for a very cheap transaction, I really wish he would use those ties to get like a Pringle or a Hardman or someone. They're with the wealth of receivers. We could get a good receiver back, because I've always felt like in the last, 8 years, that when we get somewhere where we feel good, we're like, okay, we're good. We're closing checkbook. We're good to go, guys. With all this stuff with wide receiver, we really need to be aggressive and get one more receiver if we can, especially with Marlon Mack and his value right now. They need him. Somebody needs him, and we need a receiver.
Appreciate that, James.
Yeah, that's a good call.
This is what I wanted to bring up earlier, Charlie. Like something we didn't tap into yesterday on the Julian Blackmon front is, how do you go out and find a safety? I think Marlon Mack is an avenue to explore and going to find that safety. Can you trade Marlon Mack, hell, to a team like, I know he brings up Kansas City, but unless Clyde Edwards-Helaire is seriously hurt, I don't think that would be something that they would entertain.
I would put it at a 0% chance Chris Ballard sends him to an AFC team that
really
would be in
that low.
I don't see it. Back on
I'm not
you.
There, I get that, but I don't think you can look at it like you're Baltimore and like, hey, we're a Super Bowl contender. We can't help out any team in this conference. I don't necessarily think that Marlon Mack has that sort of presence either.
But you never know. I mean, we've seen him in such short spurts. Sure, it's an absolute long shot considering where he's at, probably of the percentage he was. You're going to help a team that you may see in a playoff game. I'm not touching that at all.
What about moving him to San Fran? Can you name San Francisco's starting running back? Not to put you on the spot, but I couldn't earlier in the week.
It's not Trey Sermon, who I would have gone there. I think they've used Samuel a little bit with some runs. Is that correct?
I believe their starter, and Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it's Elijah Mitchell, who was like a 6th-round pick out of some Lafayette, Louisiana, one of the...
Sure.
Raheem Mostert, the Purdue guy, tore his ACL, I believe, early in the season. And they've typically been a bye committee, even the Tevin Coleman days. Like, that they haven't really, ever since Frank Gore left, they've rotated in a whole lot of guys. So, like, honestly, I might say, Marlon, hey, pack your bags for a little bit longer here. We won't trade you before the game, but after the game, stay here, and we'll take the 49ers number 3 safety, and we'll call it a deal. Like, that is where I think you explore some things. A running back needy team that has some depth at safety.
Sure.
Can you find that?
There has to be someone out there, right?
No teams like trading draft picks. I mean, sure, the Rams do. But, like, legitimately, especially at running back, you aren't going to find many teams that are just going to be like, hey, we've got a bunch of day 3 picks. Pick which one you want, and we'll trade you that.
I agree. Look for, obviously, Mack. This is a short-term commitment. 1 year. It's a rental. Give us a safety back as a rental. I'm just worried.
Safety or wideout, bigger need?
I'm going safety for now. I know it sounds, oh gosh, we don't know Paris. I know there was maybe some good news on Paris yesterday, potentially, that he was hinting at on Twitter. We can get to that later. But I just think with the way the defense has played through 6, I'm trying to get them as much help as possible. I'll let Carson and Jonathan and Frank figure out whatever's going to happen in the pass game.
You find that, Mark?
He is from University of Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, who just won last night. And yes, he is their starting running back.
Boom.
Trey Sermon backup.
Trey Sermon, a guy who was drafted relatively high. I want to say,
pretty high,
third rounder, and obviously had some big games in the Big Ten.
Are you safety or wideout?
I am safety, but I also don't want to act like wideout is in a great spot. I think it's in a more. I've always said this about defensive personnel versus wide receiver personnel. I think that Frank Reich's ability to scheme some things up offensively makes me feel better about offensive injuries than defensive injuries.
Without question, he's proven that.
I had someone tweet at me earlier today. Why are we sweating the loss of Julian Blackmon? He has struggled as it relates to pass coverage. I think that's such a lazy sort of comment in acting like it's just pass coverage that Julian Blackmon brings. I also think that he's been in some tough situations where other guys get burned, and all of a sudden he's responsible for a guy getting behind the defense, and that kind of skews his pass coverage numbers. So I just don't love the depth at safety and don't love this scheme being able to kind of make up for the loss of Blackmon either.
I'm with you. I'm just curious with the optics, with the trade news leaking that look both sides. We've been looking now for 3 weeks for Marlon Mack, a potential new home.
Deadline spur action.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
And
I'll give you a leg up there with that thought in mind.
But to James's point, and he asked us, will this trade happen? I don't think I'm past 50-50. Like I don't feel great. It's just like you need a desperate football team to want to make a trade for a position that no one considers desperate in the NFL anymore.
And what from the teams we've seen so far this year, I mean, it would be Baltimore or San Francisco in terms of running back need. I don't see.
We'll see.
Ballard
Maybe a running back gets hurt
AFC
on Sunday. Something like that.
Yep.
Mark Dykton, I got a no time here. Fan Morning Show.
All right, boys. Colts aren't on until Sunday night, which means we have a full day of football to get our eyes on.
No, boy.
What other games around the league intrigue you the most?
Well, you got to go Titans-Chiefs.
Yeah,
right?
It's number one by a mile.
We better be getting
Falcons-Dolphins doesn't do it for you?
Hey, that might be one of my picks here later in the show. But yeah, Chiefs at Titans on a short week. I think another sneaky one is Bengals-Ravens.
Sure, without question.
I don't know how sneaky that is. You talk to AFC North fans, and that might be
No, you go
huge.
to Cincinnati right now. I mean, there's more interest there in this team. You have to go back to Chad Johnson and Marvin when they were cooking. There's legit belief there that this is a playoff team through 6 weeks in Cincinnati.
Is that 4:00 slate serious this week? I mean, what the?
Yeah, that's serious.
Eagles, Raiders, Lions, Rams.
I want that one just for the ugly factor of Dan Campbell, unfortunately, the cutaways.
Stafford,
him
Goff,
having to watch.
I guess.
The double revenge game.
Texans, Cardinals.
That's going to be hideous.
I believe the Cardinals are favored by 17.5 over the Texans. And then, Mark, I guess, is the best game there the Bears at the Bucks?
How about this one?
Not for me, no.
Dykton, first time Tom Brady is ever facing an Ohio State starting quarterback in his career.
Yeah, that'll be
Justin
interesting.
Fields. Never's happened. You know Brady's going to win that one by 40.
Oh my
just
God!
Because of that.
Well, if you remember last year when the Bucks played the Bears, he did the 4 down. He forgot what down it was.
Oh yeah.
So when he throws 4 touchdowns against the Bears, I guarantee you he's throwing up the 4.
1, 2, 3. 4.
Yep.
We do have a lot of marquee teams on buys, which is playing into some of this. Bills, Cowboys, Chargers, all on a buy.
It is a pretty light slate this week.
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember the first rated R movie you ever saw? And do you remember how old you were?
Oh, man.
Is Independence Day rated R?
No.
Not?
PG-13.
I remember that was kind of the first, somewhat dicey movie that I saw. And I was
great film.
Probably, 8?
Yeah, I'm struggling with that one. The R-rated movies.
PG-13, though. That's not rated R.
Right.
Really?
But I remember that was the first kind of I'm doing something bad sort of thing. I shouldn't be doing this. I think So I was born in 89. I feel like Independence Day had to be right around there.
It's like 97, I think.
Yeah, so I would have been, probably like 8 or 9.
Mark, I'm struggling with that one. The R-rated, that was a big rule in the Clifford household. Like, we are not jumping there. We aren't thinking of jumping there. The Perfect Storm wasn't an R-rated movie, clearly,
PG-13
right?
also.
I remember.
How about Mark knowing all these PG-13s?
I'm kind of a movie snob.
Yeah.
See, like, I remember the Terminator, the first Terminator.
Okay.
I saw that as like when I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have, but I remember just walking in and I think my uncles were watching it. I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, whoa, robots. And I was like, whoa, that guy's killing people. So
I'm so afraid of what my daughter will be watching, consuming from a media standpoint.
So it's a different world, right?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Mark
as
and
you
I
said,
could talk about that for 3 hours.
I mean, you could just
I'll leave the dads to that one.
YouTube is every time they're on
Dangerous.
YouTube, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, yesterday was Back to the Future Day, October 21st, one of the dates Marty McFly travels back in time for. If you could go back in time to attend a concert or game, which would you choose? And the caveat is you didn't have to originally attend it.
Wow.
So like if you want to see the last time Nirvana played or the last time Queen
these are
played
fantastic.
So
this
I'm
morning,
not
man.
a big, not an obsessed music person like JMV, but I think going to Woodstock would have been wild on many levels. So that would be my
KB shirt
music
off,
concert.
just crowd surfing.
Exactly.
All the
right.
humanity.
Yeah, let's pass around the drugs and pass them around again.
Dykton, do we just go to watch from like the back row? Like, oh my gosh, Bowen's on stage. Kevin's on stage.
Why is he taking Jimi Hendrix's
I mean, you guys
guitar?
have to be Cubs World Series, right?
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going. I mean, because I was a nervous wreck the whole time of Game 7, so I really didn't enjoy it as much as I probably should have, just because I was like, they're going to blow it. But now that I know the result, I would like to go back in time and relive that.
I was shacked up in a tiny studio apartment on the north side with 3 guys I grew up on the same block. Watching Game 7, couple cases of beer. I mean,
love that.
I wouldn't have changed that
you
for
can't
the world, right?
Better, right?
I'm going. I'm a huge Springsteen and Rolling Stones guy. So anytime where they would have crossed paths way back in the day, granted they were megastars pretty much from the start, I would have loved to see them tear it up as youngsters together.
You know, maybe
that's had to have happened somewhere, right? I guess I got to ask JMV for that. He's the
maybe Charlie's nostalgia with Zivikowski has brought this up. I was at the Bush Push game in 05.
Oh my God, man. Kevin.
And I know the end of that game was not great for a 15-year-old human practicing,
the fact that you've achieved this level of success.
In the right way sort of mindset walking out of that stadium. But that environment was unlike anything else. And just to experience that, I would love to. And maybe Dwayne Jarrett doesn't catch 4th and 8, so maybe the result's a little bit different. But I would also say, and this is just golf nerd of me, get me inside the ropes and let me follow Tiger for 4 days in 1997 at the Masters.
Oh my gosh.
Again, that's very golf nerd, but still, just watching that and him coming onto the scene would be...
I have to change my
I got some
there.
early chills on this Friday morning.
Kev with 2 all-time classics there.
Great, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark,
yeah.
Mark Dykton's always on his game with that. All right, I'm Kevin Bowen, Charlie Clifford. Again, Mark producing things for us. Greg Rakestraw, we come back, talk a little bit of everything in the world of American football. With Greg Rakestraw, we come back here, Fan Morning Show.
Bobby Slick Leonard was Indiana basketball royalty, high school and IU star. He led the Pacers to ABA glory. Then kept them alive in the NBA. At his side was basketball partner, collaborator, and wife, Nancy.
They're a great team together.
As they open their season, we look at the Pacers' first family. Saturday morning at 11, here for the love of Slick, in the words of Bob and Nancy Leonard, on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Safe Auto offers Indiana state minimum car insurance for less than 48 cents a day. Visit safeauto.com or call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO.
Play it safe, Safe Auto.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
So then I dropped some garlic and croutons on there, and the rest is salad history. I made the best salad ever, people, and now I'm making the best app. The Caesar Sportsbook app got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesar rewards. Caesar salad ain't got nothing on my app. Nothing!
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Download the Caesar Sportsbook app. Your app is ready, Emperor.
This is a message for all men. After trying the little blue pill, my family doctor said my ED was incurable unless I had surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't that important to her, but I knew it was deep down inside. I felt less of a man, less of a husband without that intimacy. I was embarrassed. But all of that changed the day I called the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and made an appointment. My wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. It's truly amazing what they've done for us. Indianapolis Men's Clinic resolved my ED and my low testosterone all in one place. Thanks, guys. No matter your age, your condition, or if you suffer from Peyronie's disease, we can help. $99 for a physician evaluation, test dose, and testosterone checkup. Call now 317-999-9000. That's 999-9000. Or at IndyMen'sClinic.com.
Get up and go now so you can go tonight.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
This is how we reinvent banking.
Every week or two, your paycheck comes through. Steady like a stopwatch, easy to view. But if your bank knows that your checks will drop like clockwork, can't they speed it up, huh? Enter Huntington, punchline please, where your paycheck's delivered up to 2 days early. Get your paychecks up to 2 days early. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington, welcome.
Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply. Learn more at huntington.com/earlypay.
Hey, it's Dan Dockich, and you've heard me talk about how awesome Indiana Grand Racing and Casino is. Well, Saturday, October 30th, is Champions Day at the track with more than $1 million in total purse money on the line. When the first post time starts at noon, I'll be live on site with a special edition of the Dan Dockich Show. In addition to 9 stakes races featuring the state's top thoroughbreds and quarter horses, Champions Day at Indiana Grand will have a cigar rolling station with freebies for the first 200 people, 5 $1,000 mega bet drawings, merchandise giveaways, strolling entertainment, and live DJs, 3 $10,000 family leisure shopping spree drawings, and even a Headless Horseman appearance. All ages welcome, plus admission and parking are free. Racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating indoors or out. Bottom line, this is one you don't want to miss. It's Champions Day Saturday, October 30th at Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Join me at noon.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Colts head to San Francisco for a Sunday night football showdown. The coverage begins at 5:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's the Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, we're calling the plays, all right?
We gotta run the ball.
We'll pass blocks, we'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there?
We run it down. Yeah, Jeff, we will. All right, we're gonna call pass plays.
With Kevin Bowen.
Boom, baby.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And the Fan Morning Show continues. It is Friday. We obviously love that, and it might be Greg Rakestraw's favorite day of the week. Greg, it's Friday. Your favorite day of the week, considering all the football this time of year and basketball you're about to get into as well every year?
I thought you were going to say it was my favorite day of the week because I get to spend time with you every year trying to go at 8 a.m. Well, that's where you're going with that.
No 6A. 5A schedule abbreviated as the playoffs get underway. So where are we at tonight?
So we're at Brebeuf and West Lafayette. So we have what I think is clearly the best game in the state. 3A number 1 West Lafayette at 9-0. Have played one close game all year. Absolutely obliterated the Hoosier Conference this year, which is usually a pretty good league, against Brebeuf, who is 7-2, and their 2 losses were to 2 number 1 teams in Roncalli and Cathedral, and they hung with Roncalli until late in the third quarter, of that game. So these are 2 teams that I think are both, super solid. It's kind of the third year for this configuration of the sectional, where that sectional has had Chittard, Brebeuf, Guerin, and West Lafayette all in the same sectional. Now, obviously, Chittard is no longer part of that sectional after winning the last 2 3A championships. They have been bumped up to 4A this year. So that sectional, they got replaced by Western Boone, who was up from 2A, who has won the last 3 2A championships. So it is a pretty rugged group. And in one sense, I feel bad for these 2 teams. You got to face each other in the first week of the playoffs. In the other sense, I like having this game to broadcast across the state of Indiana, and I'll be there tonight at 7:30.
Greg, I encourage Purdue fans to turn to Miami TV 23 for kickoff as Joe Strickland, the 6'4", 230-plus pound defensive end, lines up for the Brebeuf Braves. I know you haven't seen him per se in person. What have you heard about him, and how much do you anticipate him doing tonight in this awesome showdown here to open the playoffs?
Now, first of all, is this like most of our conversations on Friday where you ask me a question, I give you a 30-second answer, then you turn off the camera? Is this the same thing that we're doing?
Essentially, folks, what Greg's alluding to, we call him one-take rake, because in my now 5 seasons on Friday nights of doing our 5 o'clock interview on Wish TV, Rake has never botched, and I hope I'm not jinxing it. He's never I got to do take 2. I got to look up this stat. I got to go back. He goes back in the archives decades. Oh yeah, I'm tying this game to that game. It's really a thing of beauty. And normally I have an intern with me, and I turn to the intern every time and say, guys, that's one take Rake.
So I'm gonna give you a 30-second answer when I hang up the phone.
Okay. Oh, jeez, Rake.
At the end of the conversation.
We need you for more than this. Come on now.
No, just kidding. And you're right. I haven't seen Joe, but obviously I've heard a great deal about him. What I will say is that for as good of a player as he has equal talent on the opposite side. So West Lafayette has their own likely Division I talent in Mo Ominode, who plays. Mo has played probably a little bit on both sides of the ball from an offensive line standpoint. He has multiple Division I offers in football. Where he is taking off is in wrestling. Mo stopped playing basketball and picked up wrestling kind of at the recommendation of college recruiters.
Wow.
And happened to make the heavyweight state finals last year, really in his first year as a competitive wrestler. I'm curious. I think he may be leaning in that direction, from a recruitment standpoint. And that was with giving up about 25, 30 pounds against most guys he was wrestling. So both these 2 teams are really good in total, but there is one key piece you look at from a recruiting standpoint. Strickland is that guy for Brebeuf. Ominode is that guy for West Lafayette. Again, this is a very balanced game tonight in terms of what these 2 teams can do. Brebeuf has played the better schedule, but West Lafayette has been so dominant, and frankly, they have been so historically good over the course of the last decade. Even if they didn't play the caliber of schedule Brebeuf did, I know what the history of the program is about, and I think this is going to be a really good football game.
Greg Rakestraw, ISC Sports Network here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Rake shifting gears to Sunday night in San Francisco. The weather looks dicey to say the least, monsoon-like potentially. Does that favor the Colts or the 49ers more?
You would certainly think so, and also knowing that it's going to be Garoppolo and not Trey Lance, and knowing that Lance is injured, it also probably makes the Niners not just more one-dimensional in terms of running game versus passing game, but makes them more one-dimensional in terms of their running game. Because the breakdown earlier this week, DeForest Buckner, you would think he would know the 49ers well, but basically said it's like having to prepare for two different offenses, and equated what the Niners do when Trey Lance is playing to something similar to what Baltimore does in terms of you have to account for the quarterback runs. He's like, with Garoppolo, that's not the case. It is more of the traditional West Coast offense. And so to me, doesn't mean the Niners aren't a good team with Jimmy G and not Trey Lance, but it means they are a little bit easier to play defensively. So I do think that if it is going to be a run-dominant, run-reliant game, the more of a mutter it is, the more that benefits, a team with Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Nyheim Hines in the Indianapolis Colts.
I like that too, Rake. We've seen Carson Wentz take major steps forward the past 2 weeks. Kevin and I debated here earlier on the show just his first 6 weeks. From what you expected and what we've gotten here, where are you at with this quarterback heading into back-to-back weeks where it feels like this is the time now you have to make statements against great teams, or we're going to be looking to much different subject matter here following Halloween?
The quarterback was the biggest question on the team coming in. If I'm asking questions after 6 weeks, the quarterback is the last person I'm asking a question of. That is what has changed in the last 6 weeks. All the other positions have not gone as well or as swimmingly or have been affected by injuries. Clearly the quarterback has been in preseason. Clearly the quarterback was in terms of the end of week 2 and in week number 3 against the Titans. But no, to me, if through 6 weeks, if you have a team MVP, it might be Wentz.
Yeah.
The other guy that I would put in there just because of what he is doing, clearly injured and not shy of talking about it, is Darius Leonard. I thought his press conference yesterday was remarkably honest and revealing when he was just saying, hey, because I have nowhere near the explosion I normally do. He goes, you'll see me. He goes, if I get a fumble recovery or a pick, I'm oftentimes running straight for the sidelines, just basically saying, hey, I'm looking to lateral the ball. I'm going to pick my next battle, knowing I can't run the way that I normally do. So, but anyway, on Wentz, I don't have many questions on Carson right now because he's been more than solid, which is kind of what Colts fans were hoping for. He's been good. So the quarterback position, I'm not worried about it right now.
I love Darius not masking what we've seen on tape. I'm sure some players would give you, oh, I'm good. Don't want to talk about it. He'll give you more, right, KB, than I think anyone else maybe on the team in terms of what actually is going on.
Yeah, I thought that was brutally honest from him yesterday, and he actually spoke to specific plays where he's like, yeah, I wasn't myself here. That's why they got a big gain. I'm thinking to myself, geez, thank you, but you definitely don't
the Mark Ingram run in specific.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
All down that route. Greg Rakestraw, it's going to be a late one for him on the postgame show into the wee hours of Monday morning. Rake, Vegas comes out with, the playoff percentages for each team. I'm curious where you would have it right now for the Colts, and we'll kind of compare that to where Vegas has it.
50-50 is how I would put it. My guess is Vegas is nowhere near that number.
Vegas is 34.5. So you're going 1 out of 2. Okay, all right.
That's close. That's closer than I thought they would be. To be honest with you,
really,
just because. Again, even though Vegas sees all and knows all, frankly, they don't follow this team as closely as you and I do, as the three of us do, as fans do. And you kind of know what they have both schedule-wise, and you know what they have internally in terms of the talent that is available to this team. I do think this is a big swing game, to be honest with you, because there are a handful of games against bad teams that are left. So let's, say that the Jets, the remaining Texans games, both games against the Jaguars. And there are games against world beaters, like the defending Super Bowl champs, like the Buffalo Bills. This game and the Patriots game are kind of the games that you would say are the in-between games, are the games you're playing against teams that have similar records. And and maybe the Patriots don't have as good of a playoff outlook as the Colts do because of whom is in their division. But I cringe at saying must win for this one. But man, life's a lot easier if the Colts win this game on Sunday night. Let's put it that way.
I think that's brilliant. I totally agree. Those two games that you circled in terms of get the job done, no questions asked. San Fran and against the rookie quarterback Mac Jones, and the rookie quarterback trend, KB, it's just going to continue here. I mean, feast on these rookies.
Yeah,
no Lance, as Greg mentioned.
Yeah, you got 4 more games, I believe, maybe 5 more games against rookie quarterbacks as well. One thing I wanted to ask you, Rake, obviously the big news this week, Paris Campbell, Julian Blackmon, their respective injuries. How would you kind of compare the significance of those 2 losses?
Julian Blackmon far more important than Paris Campbell. And I hate to be that mean towards Campbell because he makes a big play and you see that glimmer of hope and then gets hurt immediately. This team has learned a way to work around without having Paris Campbell for the better part of the last 2.5 years. For Blackmon, they don't have a guy that can spell him. If T.Y. Hilton's healthy, he can do the things that Paris Campbell can do. You can game plan around it, and you've got other receivers, on the practice squad in Harris and Kuti that can do some of the things that Paris Campbell can do. There is not another Julian Blackmon on this roster, just as simple as that. There's a reason why one of the few position battles that we were all talking about in training camp was behind the safeties, because you would say, hey, listen, after Julian Blackmon and Kari Willis, it is a drop-off to the next few guys. And you heard how guys were talking about it again yesterday on Honesty Thursday about how well that Julian Blackmon was playing and how I'm not sure how we fill his shoes. So you'd love to have them both. If you had to pick one, I wouldn't let you finish the question before I said Julian Blackmon.
Right, before we let you go, will there be a reason to watch the fourth quarter in Bloomington Saturday night?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you went there.
I hope so. Let's put it that way.
21.5 points right now is the line.
What's that?
21.5 points right now.
Keeps moving north.
I'll take the Hoosiers with 21.5 points.
Same. I'm with you.
When that keeps you interested, I don't know. You got to, Ohio State usually has a game a year where somebody that doesn't have any business giving them a game gives them a game. Clearly, Purdue has been on the benefiting end of that a few times. But I remember in the Haskins years, they barely beat Maryland at the end of the game in College Park. And so, interesting, maybe if you got some money on it. Do I think the Hoosiers can cover? Absolutely, I do. And this would be a great way to right the ship and completely change, I hate this word, the narrative of what we have been talking about with Indiana football this year. All those things about, it's back to old Hoosier football. That would change if you beat Ohio State for the first time in 33 years.
Jack Tuttle carried off the field if that happens.
If they won Saturday, Rake, would that be unquestionably a successful season?
If they make a bowl game, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you still have to make a bowl game. That again, the expectations have changed in Bloomington, even with struggling results against the 4 really good teams. So let me acknowledge that this is the 5th. It's not like they've been beaten by any bums. It's the fact that they haven't found a way to win, or they frankly weren't more competitive against Iowa and Penn State that it has you most concerned.
Rake, I hope the weather cooperates for Buff and West Lafayette. Greg Rakestraw, ISE Sports Network, and obviously the Colts post-game show host for a late one in Week 7. Thanks, Rake.
Hey, Kevin, this ain't Cathedral. We're playing on grass. We're on turf. All right? You got to have alumni donation, seriously.
I know. Arlington, God bless that place, but as soon as I saw the weather, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, this could get ugly. Some of those pictures of the Indy Star were
those jerseys are still in the washer, I believe, from last Friday.
You and I have seen some tractor pulls over the years at Arlington High School. So even with money spent on the facility, we knew what was coming.
For sure. Thanks, Rake.
Be good, Rake.
You got it.
That's a legend right there, Greg Rakestraw on the Payless Liquors hotline. Were you surprised? 50% Rake says playoff chances right now?
I mean, that's a tad high considering
34.5 again is what Vegas
I think
says.
that Monday night game goes differently between the Bills and the Titans. I'm much more in this picture because to me, still the best path is going to be through the AFC South, and having Tennessee falter, unfortunately, what we've seen, 13 comeback wins over Mike Vrabel. I mean, this team, they have some killer instinct, and that's been a huge topic of conversation around here. We are still awaiting to see if the Colts can find that in the middle of the season, but 50 was a bit north of where I would go. You win the next two, and you're gonna hear Lucas Oil. Yeah, take care of business Sunday. And Lucas Oil Stadium should be the loudest we've heard it in the Frank Reich era next Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I think this one Sunday is one of those kind of semi-steal games. I talked about it before the Baltimore game. You got to steal one of these. I don't think San Francisco's on that level, but it is one of those where you're an underdog, you're on the road.
They have the bye.
How do you get to 10-7? That's where I keep on coming back
10.
to. How do you get to 10-7?
Double digits.
You're 2-4 right now. This is one of those that you just really, really need. And obviously San Francisco feels the same way. All right, let's hit a Big O Tire Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Talked a little bit about Jonathan Taylor and how he could have a big load with the weather situation on Sunday night. Here was JT yesterday talking about this 49ers defense that just held Arizona to 17 points.
Really, those guys up front, they really trust those guys up front to get home. So it's going to be really vital this week that, we're in tune, especially those guys on the edges. It's going to be really important that we're in tune to those guys. They can really change the dynamic of a game.
That would be Nick Bosa and Dee Ford. I would say the most dynamic edge duo. Eric Armstead in the middle is a force as well. Those are things to watch, and obviously does Mother Nature stymie some of that pass rush as well?
Yeah, advantage offense when you know where you're going, you know what you're trying to execute. I will put all my money on this bet. Jonathan Taylor, 17 rushes. That's his high so far this year. He will be north of 17 on Sunday night unless this forecast drastically changed. We've talked about it all morning. 99% chance of rain, winds into the 20-mile-an-hour range. This is going to be a spectacle, not only for us, but for Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. They've seen a little bit of everything.
You're going to be there.
We're going to go out west. Channel 8 will have your coverage all weekend long.
Yeah, you're going to be at 9 umbrellas there for the pregame show. The big injury
Mary
to watch
Poppins.
in San Fran, because right now it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start, Trey Lance will not. The big injury, though, is to Trent Williams.
Yes.
One of arguably the best left tackle in football. He has missed the last 2 days with an ankle and elbow injuries. We talked T.Y. Hilton here. We're talking Quentin Nelson here. Obviously, the injury issues in Indy we've touched on, but that is a big, big one to keep an eye on for the 49ers. Still no George Kittle with him on injured reserve. All right, the Pacers back into action tonight. They're looking for their first win of the season in the nation's capital. The Wizards, Charlie, again, no Westbrook, so we all can be grateful for that. Bradley Beal's questionable, but literally, if you look at their top guys now, it's a bunch of former Lakers.
Yes, Lakers, and is this an Aaron Holiday revenge game? I believe Dykton filled us in, scoreless.
Is there such a thing?
I mean, look, with what we've run into, the luck we've run into, you never know. Would you say, Mark, 0 points for Holiday in his Wizard debut? Did we touch on that?
I believe
that
so.
Came across the board at some point. And Bradley Beal, is he a go? Is he not a go?
Questionable. It played opening night. They beat the Raptors by about 15, but obviously
Kyle Kuzma in there.
That'll be a big one to watch. Then Saturday is the home opener for the Pacers. It is against the Miami Heat. Victor Oladipo in street clothes. We'll see if he even shows up. I know last year I don't even think he showed up. With Houston maybe for that game.
Yeah, I think he pulled the old stomach bug situation. Didn't want to make the trip.
Right.
But the Heat feel like that
needs to be worked on. I got to stay home for the workers.
Still getting the lease signed in Miami on South Beach. But the Heat feel like the Raptors almost a few years ago, where every time the Pacers run into them, it's like, oh gosh, it's not going to go well. That would be a nice way to start the home slate with the win over Miami. As you said, the Bucks up next. Folks at the Fieldhouse going to be treated some awesome matchups in the early going for the new renovations at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Yeah, the expectation is no Karis LeVert tonight, tomorrow, or Monday against Milwaukee, and then a reevaluation there on him. The Heat beat the Bucks last night, 137-95. Giannis did play in that game, so
sounds like the
second night of the back-to-back, granted, but still, I mean, that's
did the championship celebration continue at 11 or one of the other interesting venues down there?
Right.
You wonder, hey, let's just one more for
that would
the
have been a
road.
late plane landed in Miami there. You probably could have fit one of those mini alcohol bottles in their rings, though. Maybe you could all take that.
Uber right there.
On the,
direct from the tarmac.
On the plane. Moving over to Major League Baseball, the Dodgers are still alive. 11-2. Chris Taylor goes yard. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. A.J. Pollock, the Notre Dame product, with a couple of home runs. They have now won 7 straight elimination games, Charlie. At some point, that stat starts to say, this team just, they know what they're doing in the clutch.
Got the monkey off their back. Clayton Kershaw had that long-standing streak of struggling in closeout games or what have you, just in the postseason. They have turned the tide and become, the most feared team, in my opinion, in baseball with what they've been able to get done. I believe Taylor, 3-homer game. I'm guessing the last Dodger to do that was Manny Ramirez against the Cubs when the Cubs were the 1 seed in 2005. But what a night for him. What a night for just a grinder.
So now 3-2, the Braves lead. Game 6, Saturday night. Again, back in Atlanta. Max Scherzer will be on the mound for the Dodgers in that one. Game 6 in the ALCS. That is tonight. The Astros leading 3-2 over the Red Sox. They've got 2 chances now on their home field to close things out. This feels like those Astros bats, man. And credit to Dusty Baker. Charlie, I know you've mentioned this before. For how bad his starters have been in this ALCS, they've had to manage their hell the way through this. And he's done it. Of course, the bats from the Astros certainly help things as well.
Yeah, I know you want to see one of these go 7.
Give me both, selfishly.
Right. And I feel like Scherzer on the mound, I'm taking that going 7 over the Red Sox going on the road and stealing one tonight.
Thursday Night Football last night, 17-14. The Browns moved to 4-3. Case Keenum under center. He handed the ball off quite a bit to Dearness Johnson. 146 yards. No Kareem Hunt. No Nick Chubb. The Browns play keep away late, and they hold off Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos. That was not a super entertaining Thursday night game, but it is one. If you turned it on in the fourth quarter, you got a little bit of drama.
And as you noted, as much as we want to laugh, oh gosh, it was just kind of ugly. You get to wild card time, you start looking back, 1 or 2 game difference.
Big games.
You would have much rather had Denver win that one than Cleveland. I know it sounds like Baker, the more we hear about this left shoulder, I don't know how he's going to play through that, but ball's in his court. Where are you at with Cleveland and really the AFC North quickly? Because you pointed out a key matchup this week in that division.
Yeah, Bengals and Ravens, huge. I like Cleveland to make the playoffs. Again, they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now, but I do like them. Baltimore, it's like, when are the injuries going to catch up? But as long as Lamar Jackson's healthy, I think that division gets 3 in. I think the Bengals and Browns get in along with the Ravens. And honestly, Pittsburgh is just kind of lurking. And I think Big Ben he's not walking up the 18th. That dude he's already in the clubhouse drinking his post-round beer. The Titans host the Chiefs, AFC South-wise. Texans are at the Cardinals. That should be a rout. The Jags have the bye coming off the trip to London. All right, the Boilers, they will host Wisconsin. That line has climbed to Purdue as a 3.5-point underdog at Ross-Ade.
You know, the numbers won't tell you based on the rankings, but 17 years since Purdue's gotten it done against Wisconsin.
And frankly, they haven't been close in a lot of those games. It's
no.
just shocking to me.
I mean, just the way Wisconsin plays, if you can't stop the run, which Purdue hasn't been able to, does that change with one of the defenses that surprised? It feels like Tom Allen's defense almost a couple of years ago, where you start looking at Purdue's stats like, oh, wow, they're top 15 in yards allowed. Really snuck up on people, obviously totally snuck up on Iowa. Excited for all Boiler fans out there who are certainly going to get their jollies in pregame tailgating at Ross-Ade.
You know, Jeff Brown doesn't want to hear this, Charlie, but like because the goal is still get to a bowl. Some way, somehow, scratch, claw, fight, whatever. You got to get to a bowl game. You win Saturday, you're maybe in the driver's seat to win the Big Ten West.
Yeah, the West is in play without question.
Minnesota only has one loss, and obviously the head-to-head goes to the Gophers there. But, you take care of Iowa, you take care of a Wisconsin team that is not anywhere near the Wisconsin we're used to.
No, those are always the two top pegs in the West. If you can split there, that's a win. If you can sweep, David Bell.
Purdue at Lucas Oil Stadium?
You know what? David Bell, too. Going to sneak in this Heisman conversation.
Whoa.
Look at his game by game. I'm telling you, look at the trend. He's already come back from the tough injury.
I like where your head's at, but you and I both know that national voters are like, David Bell?
They don't.
Who is that?
They aren't looking north of the Mason-Dixon for many of those finalists.
Yeah. Who does Ohio State have? That's about it.
Right.
Okay, IU is hosting the Buckeyes, 21.5-point underdog. We'll hit on that with our picks a little bit later. Notre Dame has got USC in South Bend. That line is hovering around a touchdown. And shout out to Reggie Miller, selected to the NBA 75th anniversary team. Just a really cool moment last night on TNT with that pregame show, letting Reggie know that he had made it. Mark tweeted out that video earlier from the Fan Morning Show account, so check that out if you haven't already. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. We got some questions about a trade destination for Marlon Mack. We saw, who were the teams yesterday? Was it Saints, 49ers? There was a third team, I think, that have reportedly had interest in Marlon Mack.
Yeah, I didn't see the third.
We'll touch on that and a little bit more Colts-wise as they get ready for Sunday Night Football against the 49ers. I'm Kevin Bowen. He's Charlie Clifford, Fan Morning Show.
Go.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off select tires now through October 31st. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust. Indy 11's back home again this Saturday for Fan Appreciation Night, driven by your Central Indiana Honda dealers. Get tickets for the 7 p.m. home finale now at Indy11.com.
This year, our average client received over $52,000 with an easy cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
The non-stop action of tennis takes center court at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers serves up an exciting tennis betting experience like no other, with a massive number of live in-game betting options, including point-by-point betting. But don't just bet on the game live. Watch it live. Bet Rivers Sportsbook live streams a huge number of tour events from around the world throughout the tennis season. Try it today, and Bet Rivers will match your first deposit up to $250. It's a winner. Bet on tennis at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Go now to BetRivers.com. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
This is a message for all men. After trying the little blue pill, my family doctor said my ED was incurable unless I had surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't that important to her, but I knew it was deep down inside. I felt less of a man, less of a husband without that intimacy. I was embarrassed. But all of that changed the day I called the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and made an appointment. My wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. It's truly amazing what they've done for us. Indianapolis Men's Clinic resolved my ED and my low testosterone all in one place. Thanks, guys. No matter your age, your condition, or if you suffer from Peyronie's disease, we can help. $99 for a physician evaluation, test dose, and testosterone checkup. Call now 317-999-9000. That's 999-9000. Or at IndyMen'sClinic.com.
Get up and go now so you can go tonight.
Denny Smith here. Don't let the chilly temps fool you. It's prime time to plant trees and shrubs. Save 20% on all nursery stock now through the 24th of October at Sundown Gardens. Many shade and ornamental trees available, plus a large selection of shrubs and grasses for your landscape. And don't forget to visit their pumpkin patch to select the perfect carving pumpkins for Halloween. Wagon rides and kids' activities are available on weekends through the 31st. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road or sundown.gardens.com.
We've got basketball on our minds. With football already being back, there are tons of action over on PropSwap. For those that don't know, PropSwap is the only place in Indiana where you can buy and sell sports props. It is the place for the best odds in the country. The arrival of basketball has all sorts of NBA team and player props available, plus an intriguing college basketball season for our local teams, which is an avenue that you can explore if you're looking for a little extra rooting interest over on PropSwap. One of the things I love the most about PropSwap is that you can cash your ticket even if your player or your team does not win. Once the odds of that ticket has shrunk, that's when you can put it up for sale, and you can sell a ticket at any point during a game or season. Remember, if you're looking for the best odds in the country, look no further. PropSwap is a way to win bigger at sports betting. There's never been a better time to join. Use promo code FREE100 to receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Check out PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
Taylor right up the gut. He's in there. Touchdown, I-N-T-Y.
That felt good.
The Colts played better. It's the Colts knocking off the Texans.
The Colts return to primetime hoping for a better ending. It's a Sunday night matchup with the 49ers in San Francisco. Sunday night, our coverage starts at 5:30. Kickoff with Matt Taylor at 8:30.
Jonathan Taylor scoots into the end zone. Touchdown, 30-3.
Your home for Colts football, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back. Hoping to have Joe Wiz, our gambling guy, on here in about 10 minutes. Matt Taylor. Top of the hour, it's Kevin Bowen and Charlie Clifford.
How we doing?
Here on a Friday morning at CliffWish8 on Twitter. Charlie Aaron tweeted in at me and goes, "Good morning, KB. Regarding a potential Marlon Mack trade, why not call up the Jets and ask for free agent Marcus May? Do believe he is on the last year of his rookie deal. Jets, Colts have a trade history as well."
I don't hate that idea. I don't know where the Jets are at. I don't know if the Jets know where the Jets are at.
I was gonna say, I think that's the first question. Like, when we get to late October, man, I'm always like, all right, every NFL team has got to get the decision makers into a little boardroom action and say, guys, are we buyers or are we sellers?
Yes.
And you got to be honest. Like, it's almost like they all need to take like 3 shots.
I was going to say, don't do that sober.
Come into that room. Yeah. Be like, all right, literally lie detectors are hooked up all over this room. We need honesty here. And if you're the Jets right now, although I think I might like the Jets this week in one of my picks, which sounds absurd. Maybe just to cover.
Kevin, did you take your 3 shots before walking into
there's a reason why
fine building on the Circle this morning?
I went to the break room a couple of breaks ago. The Jets aren't buying.
No,
right?
No.
And Marcus May also was arrested for DUI, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know how that fits into the Colts plan.
No, Chris Ballard, hesitant, obviously character first and foremost under his watch. I do like the connection, though. Rex Hogan, who I loved here. It seems like the deals with them early in the Ballard era, it was just like a one-way street, bouncing back and forth. And now we've kind of opened that second lane of traffic with the Philadelphia Eagles with Nick Sirianni potentially. But, yeah, that seems like just there's a lot going on there. And are you willing to part with draft picks? Because, straight up May for Mack just wouldn't make sense on the Jets end at all.
Yeah. The report yesterday about Mack, Mark just looked at this up in the break, had the 4 teams with interest as the Chiefs, Panthers, 49ers, Saints. Obviously, 3 of those 4 achieve what you want to do, and that's get him out of the AFC. And to be fair,
not get him out, but just avoid helping someone who you may have to battle with. I totally agree with.
Ideally, that's what you would do. But if I'm sitting here and the Chiefs are offering me a 5th rounder or whatever, which would just be shocking to me, and the Panthers are offering a 7th, I am doing the Chiefs trade 10 times out of 10.
See, I'm not. I don't. Again, a 5th, I'm sure we would agree, would be a stretch and then some.
Or like a 3rd safety, I guess. I don't know.
Now, that is where you change the equation a little bit. If it's help right now at your most desperate position of need, then I would reevaluate sending him to an AFC, again, playoff contender. If it's going to be a bottom feeder, sure, send him to the AFC.
Yeah, Jets, what'd you say? We'll send a gift basket.
Yeah. No, Joe Douglas, please. But it's really, I love the debate, and I love that it's come up twice here this morning because it is a unique spot that the Colts have not been in, as far as I know, under Chris Ballard, where you have a usable, a nice player, and what can you get for him? And it's out there publicly.
I can't remember an in-season trade for the Colts. Maybe I'm forgetting one under Ballard. But yeah,
you got
curious
me
to see how the next 10 days plays out with that. You threw an interesting question at me a couple days ago. who would you rather build your team around? And this is specific to Sunday night. Jonathan Taylor or Nick Bosa?
Yeah.
Are you asking that from a Colts standpoint, or are you asking that from an NFL standpoint?
I think more of a national standpoint. I assume these will be two of the featured players on Sunday night. A lot of the country, thanks to what you saw in Baltimore on the screenplay, well aware that Jonathan Taylor has a chance to be very special. Obviously, Nick Bosa solidified himself as a rookie of being a franchise guy on the edge. So when I looked at just Bosa year 3, Taylor year 2, unique spots where you can really change the direction of a team, running back and defensive end, I thought it was, okay, this is something that maybe you have an argument either way. Where do you sit on that, KB?
I would be all in on Bosa. I don't want to undersell what Taylor has meant. And I asked you from a Colts standpoint because I feel like the Colts are so committed to the ground game.
Yeah.
Running backs mean a little bit more to the Colts than they do, I think, to other teams.
Fair.
But I also look at this Colts defense, and I've talked about this prior, of when you're so committed to dropping 7 into coverage, playing a lot of zone, that means the 4-man rush has got to do its job. And you've got to have individual rushers just flat out win. And you're putting Nick Bosa on a very short list right now in the NFL of dudes that just say, mano y mano, I don't want to block him.
No.
So that's where I'm at. And plus, the constant swings and misses at pass rusher probably only adds to this as well. If for some reason Kamoko Toure or Terrell Basham or some other edge rusher would have panned out so far, that might shift my answer. But I don't know. I don't know about you, Charlie, but I don't watch a whole lot of 49ers. The 49ers I do watch, Nick Bosa's a freaking stud.
Yeah, it doesn't take more than a couple series to realize, okay, he's on the field. Now, I'll disagree for this reason. A, if you're going to stick with this defense long term, as you said, sure, you're going to have to find edge guys. Jonathan Taylor's trajectory, if we look back to week 11 last year, Derrick Henry, the only running back in football with more yards.
Yeah, Taylor's the best running back in the league besides Henry.
Yes, the durability and just the unknown of, as Jim Irsay pointed to in his training camp address, Jonathan Taylor, if he's having dreams of Canton, Ohio, and a gold jacket, those are the right dreams and visions for this player. So I think I'm safe going Taylor there, saying, hey, is he going to be a generational guy potentially? That door certainly is open at this point in his career. And how does that free up your head coach, who clearly you have the most eggs in that basket? If the Colts are going to get to the promised land, it will be from the brilliance of Frank Reich. And you're going to have playmakers. Taking a playmaker of that caliber away, you're subtracting from your biggest strength and ultimately your biggest difference maker. So I would go Taylor there.
Couple very random items for Sunday night that I don't know if they will play into it, but something to watch. And again, Mother Nature is going to be a huge storyline. The 49ers lead the NFL in pass interference penalties against them this season. That's with a bye week as well.
That's a great nugget.
Can you get down the field against them? Do these guys get grabby? That is something, of course, to watch. And then Kyle Shanahan, there's a lot of kind of boy wonder with him as a coach, even though the record hasn't been there. For what it's worth, they have won 2 straight coming out of byes, and they've won those games by a combined 29 points.
Which is an outlier considering what you've seen this year. Colts fans, you'll remember the 2019 Colts with Jacoby Brissett. You had to wait till week 11 until you didn't have a one-score, one-possession game.
I forgot about that, yeah.
The Niners are right there, folks. 5 weeks, one-possession games. You look at the 2 and 3, as Kevin mentioned, the losses, just like the Colts, 2 good teams, Seattle, Arizona, and Green Bay. So, yeah, is this their chance to step on it and to really circle the wagons? Because the chatter out west, there is heat, not only because of where the Cardinals have gone in the short term, but where you were just 2 years ago on the doorstep of the first Super Bowl victory since Jerry Rice and Steve Young. And it has gone completely in the other direction. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on for sure, that with the trends we've seen through 6 weeks with both teams.
We come back here on the Fan Morning Show, hoping to have Joe Wiz on with us. A little gambling chatter before we make our picks in the 9 o'clock hour. Kevin Bowie, Charlie Clifford, Fan Morning Show.
Hey, it's JMV. Need game tickets for the Colts game? Buy Colts tickets today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. Need tickets to the Colts VIP tailgate? Buy them today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. So you need tickets to the Colts game and tickets to the Colts VIP tailgate? Buy your game tickets today and add the VIP tailgate to make it a Colts ticket and tailgate combo. Buy today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. It's the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Get your tickets now. bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Get ready for the holidays at Payless Liquors. Pop-Off Vodka is only $8.99 and Ron Rico Rum $13.99, and that's for the half-gallon size. Bud Light aluminum bottles are only $15.99, and if you're looking for wine, Behringer White Zins $2.99, Oliver Sweet Red, White, and Rosé $6.99, and Prisoner's Red Blend is only $44.99 a bottle. Plus, Crown Royal Original is only $22.99, and the brand new Crown ready-to-drink 4-packs are in stock now at all 26 Payless Liquor locations. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 separate times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
At Huntington, we've been asking ourselves, is it possible to lend money at 0 interest? And it totally is. Introducing Standby Cash. When you need extra cash, you can qualify for between $100 and $1,000 at Huntington. And it's free when you auto-pay us back across 3 months. Why would a bank do that? Just to look out for people. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington, welcome. Without automatic payments, 12% APR. Eligibility requirements apply. Amount available is based on customer eligibility. Learn more at huntington.com/standbycash.
Hey, it's Dan Dockich, and you've heard me talk about how awesome Indiana Grand Racing and Casino is. Well, Saturday, October 30th, is Champions Day at the track with more than $1 million in total purse money on the line. When the first post time starts at noon, I'll be live on site with a special edition of the Dan Dockich Show. In addition to 9 stakes races featuring the state's top thoroughbreds and quarter horses, Champions Day at Indiana Grand will have a cigar rolling station with freebies for the first 200 people, 5 $1,000 mega bet drawings, merchandise giveaways, strolling entertainment, and live DJs, 3 $10,000 family leisure shopping spree drawings, and even a Headless Horseman appearance. All ages welcome, plus admission and parking are free. Racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating indoors or out. Bottom line, this is one you don't want to miss. It's Champions Day Saturday, October 30th at Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Join me at noon.
My fiancé surprised me with an engagement ring from Shane Company. A simple solitaire ring with a beautiful oval diamond. I love it. I had a vision of what I wanted to do with the wedding bands to create my own look and add even more sparkle. Shane Company has so many options, so it was easy to bring it to life. I got 2 bands. I selected a diamond contour band to go on one side of my engagement ring and a delicate vintage band to go on the other. It's a unique ring stack and it fits my style. It's totally me. My fiancé got his wedding band at Shane Company too. I had no idea what he'd gravitate to because he never wears jewelry. He tried on lots of rings. Turns out he really liked a black tantalum band. It's masculine and unique, and it suits his personality. The wedding is really soon, and I can't wait to wear my gorgeous new rings every day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
The holidays are doubly important this year, so make your celebrations doubly special. At Kroger, we've got a huge selection of high-quality meats on top of fresh, natural produce, like fresh, never-frozen, prime-grade beef and our Simple Truth organic Brussels sprouts, or delicious king crab legs with our private selection gourmet potatoes. Whew, had to say that doubly fast. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
We're hiring for immediate openings with next-day pay, benefits, and great perks. Apply today at jobs.kroger.com.
Soccer Saturday between Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
Money. Gotta get that money. Money. You gotta get that money.
It's The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, our guy Joe Wiz is on the Payless Liquors hotline. You hear him 8 a.m. on our airwaves Saturday and Sunday with the Fine Line, getting you ready to make some money every single weekend right here. And Joe, let's start with the big one, Sunday Night Football, Colts and 49ers. The first thing that I think about gambling-wise is Mother Nature looks ugly. Tons of chances of rain, tons of wind. Are we taking the under there, 44?
Yeah, well, when you look at it here, Sam, by the way, guys, thanks for having me on. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
You guys have been on for a few hours already. It's a little, but here, San Fran, he's favored by 4. The totals are 44. And, the Colts, like I said, last week they struggled against a mediocre Houston team. They're only up 10-3 at halftime. So, yeah, but Carson Wentz is starting to play a little bit better. 6 touchdowns in the last 2 games, 0 interceptions. And ironically, the Colts seem to play better on the road than they do at home. I mean, their best game of the season was at the Ravens a couple of weeks ago when they should have won that game and they lost. But here, the total's 44. Whether, that's always a good factor, and you have to take into consideration here. 49ers are expected to go with Garoppolo. The inclination would be to go under. But I like the Colts in this game as well, getting the 4. The 49ers are all banged up, and like I said, the Colts already won at Miami. I know Miami's not that good, but the Colts did play well. If the Colts play the way they did against the Ravens on that Monday night game, they will beat San Fran outright. But I'm taking the 4 points with the Colts plus the 4. I think that this game, I think they can win the game outright. I'm taking the 4, and I'm taking the money line.
Wiz, your stock's at an all-time high in Indy. Your dinner for free tonight if you can make it in.
I was already invited to the Super Bowl, so I'm going to be there.
Hey, man, Wiz in Los Angeles. There's going to be some stories. Oh, you're saying in the past you were invited to Indy for the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Got it. Hey, any interesting props for Sunday night that Colts fans may look at to add a little more action to the entertainment on Sunday Night Football?
To be honest with you, I don't look much at the prop bets. That's like another whole full-time job. And when you look at it here, I like to concentrate on the games itself.
Sure.
That's what I do. And my show is on, tomorrow I'll be on at 8 a.m. I break down every college football game. And, of course, there'll be a big game, which we can talk about here in a minute if you want, Wisconsin and Purdue. And, of course, Sunday I have every game in the NFL. The show's brought to everybody by Bet Rivers, which plays a prominent role on your station. We talk about all the games. I like to give out all the games and give predictions on the games.
All right, it is the Fine Line, like Joe just said, 8 a.m. Both Saturday and Sunday. And Joe Wiz is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Let's talk about those college games. 3 really nice ones, or at least intriguing ones here in the state. Notre Dame, USC, Notre Dame favored by about 7. IU, a 3-touchdown underdog at home to Ohio State. And like you said, Purdue, a home underdog, 3.5 to Wisconsin. Joe, your early thoughts on any or all of those 3?
Boy, when you look at this Purdue-Wisconsin game, last week right here on the air, we talked about Purdue, and we said that they would give Iowa a problem. I didn't expect them to win the game outright, but that's exactly what happened. Congratulations to head coach Jeff Brom. He's done a great job. I mean, getting 11 points here, I didn't even have the courage to take them. But listen, when you look at this series here, Wisconsin's favored by 3. They've beaten Purdue 14 straight times, which is hard to believe. 14 straight times, and they are 7-0 against the spread in West Lafayette. With all that being said, I'm going with the home dog. I'm taking Purdue because whenever Purdue plays, whoever the dog is, when Purdue plays, the dog is 15-4 against the spread in games that Purdue participates in. Wisconsin's offense has struggled. They're ranked 115th in scoring offense. Their defense is very good. The edge I give to Purdue at quarterback with Aiden O'Connell and David Bell, if they can get their connection going. Purdue can't run the ball, so they'll have to run. If Purdue is successful passing the ball, they will beat Wisconsin because Wisconsin can't score any points. So I think we got a live dog like we did last week with Purdue. I'm going with the dog again with Purdue plus the 3 at home.
Boilers 15-4 underdog against the spread. That is why he's the Wiz. Let's go a little further south in the Hoosier State. Ohio State, a top 5 team, still with college playoff aspirations. Obviously, they're in the mix. 20, is that line 21, Wiz? What are you seeing, and where do you go when the number is that high, although also factoring in the offensive concerns for Tom Allen and the Hoosiers?
Hoosiers, you don't know what you're going to get. Rumors are that Penix is going to play, but I'm not sure if that's a good sign or not. But it's amazing how well the Hoosiers played last year, and this year just everything has gone wrong for them with injuries and fumbles, etc. Last year was a barn burner. Ohio State won the game 42-35, and ironically, the Hoosiers play Ohio State better than almost anybody in the Big Ten. They're 8-2 against the spread against Ohio State. With that being said, I'm not sure this Hoosier team, this edition of the Hoosier team, is going to be able to hang with Ohio State. Ohio State right now is on a mission. I mean, they had that loss to Oregon, and everyone thought that's it. They're done. They're not going to be in the national championship picture. But they has done a great job, and I think that they're, I'm never going to lay 21 points on the road in any kind of game, but the total in this game is relatively reasonable. I like the total to go over in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game here. My recommendation is to go over 59 in this game here. I think Ohio State's good for 40 points. I'm hoping that Indiana can score 3 touchdowns to make the game go over the total.
All right, Joe, again, 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. Any sort of teases you would like for our listeners out there?
Say that again?
Any sort of teases for the show Saturday and Sunday?
Well, Sunday, like I said, it's interesting because this Sunday in the NFL, there's a lot of teams that are big favorites in the game, but there's a couple good games. I'm looking forward to seeing the Burrow game with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that line's a little high. I think Cincinnati can make a statement here. Baltimore's been playing lights out, but I think this line is a bit inflated. And the game I'm looking forward to the most is Kansas City Chiefs and Tennessee. KC has struggled, even though they beat the football team last week. Tennessee coming off that impressive win. How about McDermott having the courage to go for it? Some people will argue with it, but I'm glad he went for it because I took the Titans on the money line. I was sweating that out. I had plus 240, and listen, Titans won revenge. They remember getting knocked out in the playoff game against KC. The line in this game is relatively low. KC's just 4.5. Mahomes has been throwing a lot of interceptions. I think that the Titans will give the Chiefs all they can handle. Possible upset again. You might see 2 upsets in a row in Nashville. So I'm going with the Titans. And of course, all the lines that I talk about here on the show are brought to everyone by Bet Rivers. And my show, The Fine Line, I'm on every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday morning 8 a.m. We break down every single game in college football and the NFL. And about that Notre Dame USC game, play the total over in that game. I like over.
Whoa! Did you get all that? I was going to say, I got to go back and jot all that down. The podcast will be up shortly. And obviously, 8 a.m. both Saturday and Sunday, a must listen to get your weekend started. Joe, always enjoy it. We'll talk to you next Friday.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Pleasure, man. Joe Wiz
Appreciate
right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. A lot of great info in there. One thing I did want to, I think, clear up, unless you've heard something different, Charlie. We're expecting Jack Tuttle, right, to still be the starter on Saturday night.
There's been no indication from Tom Allen that Michael Penix Jr. is anywhere close, I think, to playing at this point.
Week to week seems to still be the label, though.
Yeah, and he's going to stick with Tuttle was the message earlier because there's been some folks, and any Donovan McCulley, former Lawrence North Star, you got to worry about a red shirt with him as a freshman.
He got in a little bit last week.
Yeah, he will be in more on packages, but it's going to have to be on the right arm of Tuttle if you're going to pull off what would be probably the biggest upset in college football on Saturday.
The 8-2 against the spread versus Ohio State in the last 10. That's very interesting because there's been some big points allowed in games against Ohio State, but IU has scored. Obviously, definitely a different IU team this year with their defense doing much more than just the heavy lifting so far. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. I'd love to get Matt Taylor impersonating Joe Wiz. How funny do you think that would be?
He is one of the most underrated impressionists. I would put him in the realm of Joey Molinaro, and that is
Caliendo, all of them.
Sneaky. We got to get something out of
Colts game
Taylor
ever gets ugly, you can just go with Matt Taylor impersonating people throughout the fourth quarter. The voice of the Colts joins us next here. Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV for the 14 Central Indiana CarX locations and the great deals like lifetime brakes right now, just $109.99 per axle. Check them out online for the location nearest you, CarX.com.
This year, our average client saved over $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
My first plan to spice up the NFL season was to add man-eating tigers to the game. We lost a lot of great players that day, and that was my bad. Now I'm bringing you the Caesars Sportsbook app. It's got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesars rewards, people. It's even better than Tiger Ball.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This is a message for all men. After trying the little blue pill, my family doctor said my ED was incurable unless I had surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't that important to her, but I knew it was deep down inside. I felt less of a man, less of a husband without that intimacy. I was embarrassed. But all of that changed the day I called the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and made an appointment. My wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. It's truly amazing what they've done for us. Indianapolis Men's Clinic resolved my ED and my low testosterone all in one place. Thanks, guys. No matter your age, your condition, or if you suffer from Peyronie's disease, we can help. $99 for a physician evaluation, test dose, and testosterone checkup. Call now 317-999-9000. That's 999-9000. Or at IndyMen'sClinic.com.
Get up and go now, so you can go tonight.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3 cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Join me today, Seth Greenberg talking IU and Purdue hoops, Kevin Bowen talking Colts, Jason Hammer talking gambling all day, no way, and Dan versus Fan. Join me today, noon to 3.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
It's the final hour of the week on The Fan Morning Show, and you know what that means. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, every Friday here at 9, joins us now. Mate, are we good on our flight situation? I'm knocking on wood in the studio. I know last week or 2 weeks ago, a little bit of a snafu, but we need you in the building Sunday night with an umbrella, it sounds like.
I'm telling you. Hey, you're saving the best for last, by the way. Last hour, last show of the week. I'm telling you, here we go.
Exactly. Here's our walk-on joining the show right now.
Yeah. I'm like the cleanup hitter, man. I'm just like, I'm cleaning up all your mess here.
It's one of
those things, the predicament of a COVID year, we're actually not going to go to the game because of direct flights. We don't have direct flight situations out there. Coming home on Monday, which a lot of us got to be back we got to be at home on Monday to do our jobs
right
in a reasonable time. So it sucks. It's going to be our second remote game of the year, but it is what it is. We'll do a good job,
No doubt.
I will throw to you what I threw to Greg Rakestraw last hour. I see the weather forecast for Sunday night. I think that favors the Colts. What say you about potentially this monsoon and heavy winds?
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be as bad as they say, definitely, in the trenches. Plus, it is a natural grass surface out there in Levi Stadium. And so I think the team, if it's as bad as they say, the team that wins up front in the trenches has a good chance of winning the game. And, for the Colts, in terms of their mantra and their mentality and, what they want to be about on offense these last couple of years under Frank Reich, they got to be licking their chops. That offensive line's playing really good right now. Jonathan Taylor is a guy that, even dating back to last year, is a running back that at times can make yards when there are no yards to be made. He's that good, and a really good blend of power and speed and vision. And so the way that unit is operating right now these last couple of weeks when, they're kind of finding their stride and getting more time on task and building some rhythm and cohesion with one another. I mean, you look at it in the last 3 games, the Colts are averaging 145 rushing yards a game, which is good for 5th best in the NFL. And like I said, Jonathan Taylor is just a home run machine right now, whether that's in the passing game or in the running game. So I like if it's going to be a goalie washer, like they say it's going to be.
Goalie washer.
Hey,
yeah,
that was
like
good. Let me jot that down.
And plus, if Quentin Nelson's coming back, that all bodes well for the Colts, I think.
San Francisco, Matt, we're looking at the defense. Of course, we've talked at length about Nick Bosa, but when you've gone inside the numbers, what stood out? I've loved what they've done on 3rd down, and Kevin brought up an interesting nugget, the most pass interference calls in the NFL, even with the bye this past week, but still a top 10 pass defense. Where do you go if you're Frank Reich sizing up those numbers and others that you've dug up?
Yeah, Kevin's right on it. 8 penalties for defensive pass interference. They actually lead the NFL too in overall penalty yards on defensive pass interference at 153. So overall, it is a very, very stingy defense. I mean, through 5 games, they're 6th in scoring. Passing very, very good. Number 2 in overall yards, but 7th in average. But obviously, that has a lot to do given the fact that they're coming off their bye. They've only played 5 games. Up front, I just think they're pretty consistent. They've got Eric Armstead. They've got Bosa. Bosa already has 5 sacks. In the middle, they've got Shire. They've got Warner. Tart's pretty good in the back end. Jimmy Ward's pretty good in the back end. And it's funny, we were talking about, just the ramifications of that DeForest Buckner trade and, what that was going to look like for the 49ers last year. And obviously, they didn't sniff the playoffs last season, and they had a big drop-off defensively from 2019 to 2020.
Right.
But I really don't think it was because of their defensive line, to be fair. Now, obviously, they would have loved to have kept DeForest Buckner. It just, the money and the business side of the NFL kind of played into why they had to make that deal. They had to make a tough decision because, they had Armstead that was up in free agency, and then they ultimately ended up drafting his replacement in Kinlaw. But again, to be objective, it wasn't the defensive line last year. If you just watch them, they still played pretty well, pretty productive up front. It was the rest of that defense that kind of let them down. So it's one of those things where, D Ford's now a rotational player at the defensive end position. They've got playmakers, but I still think this is a defense that can be had, no matter what the weather situation is coming up on Sunday. I think the Colts can run the ball on them, but especially run it effectively if it's going to be just horrible weather conditions. So it's a good defense. I definitely think it's the best defense the Colts will play in this middle part of their schedule.
Wow.
But that being said, I don't think it's the 85 Bears or anything like that.
Well, it's a little frightening considering you look at the game against Kyler Murray, 17 points in perfect conditions. Arizona's cracked 31 in every other game. They're coming off that performance plus a week off. KB, I don't know if I'm in love with that part of the storyline.
For sure. And to Matt's point, I do think it's a very good defense. I also think the Colts' challenge offensively is much different than Arizona's challenge. Again, I'm not saying that's necessarily a great thing, but I just think stopping the Colts is different than stopping the Cardinals. Fair attack, scrambling quarterback versus more of a, you would think with this weather, running it right at you. Voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor here on the Fan Morning Show. All right, Mayte, obviously just the crushing news that was confirmed about this time yesterday morning of Julian Blackmon tearing his Achilles. Internally, right now, how do you think that free safety position looks Sunday night?
Great question, and I don't know. That's something I think obviously is going to be brought up today with Frank Reich, and it'll be the first time he will speak to the media after that news of that injury came out. And just if you look at just what it means for the defense, it's I'm not going to use the word crushing, but I mean it really stings. It really does, because he's part of the backbone of that secondary. I mean, he's a mainstay back there. If you look at some of the numbers this year, I mean, he's playing about 97% of the defensive snaps, and he's just really ascended. I mean, he's really, really increased his level of production back there. It was funny, the Colts produced a social media video this week he's kind of complaining on the sideline, hey, nobody's throwing to me, right? Because he's so good in the back end at that free safety position. But more than that, he's great against the run. There was a play that really sort of personifies that on Sunday against the Texans. I think it's kind of an outside zone or like a sweep out on the edge with Phillip Lindsay, and you're thinking, all right, based on the execution of this play, this is going to go for maybe 10, 15 yards. They had some really good blocking on the outside. And then all of a sudden, here comes Julian Blackmon, setting the edge, coming upfield like a rocket, and gets Lindsay in the backfield for a tackle for loss, and was, close to forcing a fumble on that play. He had the forced fumble on Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football that kind of created that crazy play with Darius Leonard laddering it back to Isaiah Rodgers. So it's really, really unfortunate. And obviously, the theme of this season for the Colts has been injuries. So you look at next man up, and the Colts got some options. They could put Kari Willis at the free safety position, although he's been more of a strong safety. I don't know if that's what you want to do ideally, but it's certainly on the table. Anderson Dejo's coming off a concussion the last couple of weeks. He's been in practice these last couple of days in that red non-contact jersey, so I'm not sure where he's at. But he has started over 70 games. And then there's George Odom, and George is obviously a fantastic special teams player, but he's sort of that last this is no disrespect to George, because what I'm about to say is, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of those players where they don't want to mess with his special teams prowess.
Sure.
He's only played about 30 snaps in the last couple of seasons on defense. I think it numbers 39 defensive snaps over the past 22 regular season games.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where it's next man up, but it's going to be tricky figuring out what the best option is with that man or men that have to fill in for Julian Blackmon.
Hey, Tay, a name that I brought up a little bit earlier that I admittedly have forgotten about is TJ Carey. He got hurt, I believe, in that Rams game, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Do we know the severity of that injury at all? He's been on injured reserve, and I just think back to Grand Park, and I'm like, well, he played a whole lot of safety there, especially early on in camp. Yeah. He would seem to be kind of an in-house option if and when he can get back.
Yeah, they were cross-training TJ. They do that a lot in training camp. They do that with, several guys. But TJ was part of that too. And I'm not sure what the injury update is on him. Frank Reich gets asked about him periodically, just like a lot of guys on injured reserve. That is true with, a guy like Dayo Adangbo. He came off the practice, or they came off the injured reserve list, or I should say the non-football. It's tough to keep track of all these injuries, guys.
Yeah, man.
All the non-football injury list. He is eligible to play, by the way, coming up on the Jets at the earliest in the first part of November. But as far as TJ goes, I still think, according to Frank and the vibe that we're just getting from these updates, is that it's still lingering. It's still there. He's not able to come off that injured reserve list just yet, even though it's been well past the 3-game threshold. Still, I think maybe at least another week or two away. That's just the vibe I'm getting as far as TJ goes.
I appreciate that update, and nice of KB to dig that up. And your mention of cross training, certainly better than another TJ Green's cross training that we saw between the safety and quarterback way back in the day.
Wow.
Sorry, TJ Green.
That's going back a ways.
Yeah. Do you remember that? Maybe that could work out.
Trying to block that one out. I think
the Ram opener we had seen enough. So
I didn't think I was going to get a TJ Green reference on Friday, but I'm here for it.
Clifford pulling them out.
We're buckled in. Defensive line, Mate, Taekwon and Kwity both limited. It goes without saying, just still looking for consistency up front with the pass rush. Any updates on what you expect to see Sunday night in terms of who may be available?
Well, I'm hoping both guys are. I mean, both guys played last week. I tell you what, Taekwon's been playing well here lately. He really has. I mean, he had those sacks a couple of weeks ago in that game, against Miami, then had a couple of tackles for loss against Baltimore.
Yeah.
So he's obviously playing more. I think the Colts pass rush, obviously, periodically, they've shown flashes, but obviously you're just going for consistency. What you ideally would like to get is like 3-4 sacks a game, a couple big tackles for a loss, but just the overall pressures. You want those game-altering pressures to alter throws, to alter decisions. And so that's what you're trying to get, and especially you need it in a game like this. where it's potentially going to be bad weather, get them in 3rd and long, get in the face of a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, who's really not played all that well this season, coming off a calf, get in his face. They don't have a ton of big playmakers on the outside. I mean, obviously Deebo Samuel he's a great player, but outside of that, I mean, Ayuk, you're looking at their depth chart. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I had to look up Trent Sherfield this week at wide receiver. I mean, he's a new name and not a household name, at least not in the Midwest.
No. Does Mohamed Sanu get any action?
He does, but again, he's towards the back end of his career. So
sure.
I just think defensively, I think across the board in this game, I really like the Colts' chances, and I think it's an important game for the Colts to win because you're back on prime time. You want to erase what happened the last time you were under the lights, Monday Night Football, right? I mean, you let that 19-point lead slip away in the 4th quarter and overtime. Just a really bad taste. Plus, too, you need this to kind of validate what you're doing. You're playing good football. No question. Aesthetically, you look better, but the naysayers guys are going to say, hey, you beat Miami and you beat Houston. And it's really kind of hard to argue against that. Those are some, disappointing football teams so far in 2021. You need to validate, you're a good football team. You're playing good football these last couple of weeks. Beat a, semi-good team, that's on that fringe. I think the Colts and 49ers are in that second bucket, that second tier of good, but trying to be better, trying to be in the elite category. But also, too, you also need to win to keep pace with Tennessee because, my gosh, Tennessee looks like a really good team. And I don't think they're going to go anywhere, and they continue to beat really good football squads like the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football so that you get a win, you validate what you're doing, and you also set up yourself for a monster game on Halloween against the Titans in that second AFC South game against Tennessee next Sunday.
Voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, with us here. Kevin Bowen and Charlie Clifford, Fan Morning Show. Matt Taylor, last one from me. How would you describe Darius Leonard's season through 6 weeks?
I would describe it as, typical maniac, but it just leaves you wanting more, and not because of anything that he is doing, but because of his ankle. And it's ridiculous, like the amount of production that he's still being able to come away with that ankle. And what I'm getting at is, the splash plays are still there. He's been part of 7 turnover plays.
It's ridiculous
this season, and he's got a takeaway or been part of a takeaway play in 4 straight games. He's the only player this year with at least 2 picks and 2 forced fumbles. So he's relying on his football instincts. He's relying on that IQ, but you are seeing, you're left wanting more. You're left being hungry for Darius because, the play that immediately comes to my mind as far as that goes is that strip sack, Grover Stewart in the face of Jacoby Brissett of Miami. The ball's on the ground. If you have a healthy Darius Leonard, he picks that up and he scores and he's,
walks in.
Yeah, he walks in, he's doing whatever dance he wants to
Still
go to.
Still the face mask of the year potentially there on the return of the lineman. That was epic.
Yeah. So he has that fumble recovery, that we talked about that play earlier on Monday night in Baltimore, and he's going down because he doesn't have the speed, the acceleration, the burst on that ankle on the return, and great heady play by him to flip it back to Isaiah Rodgers. But you can just see, when it's time for Darius to be an athlete, where he's not in the box and he's not, just sort of, using leverage and using his instincts, you can see he's compromised on the ankle, which is, again, a credit to him that he's still out there. He's going through the process to be ready to go on Sunday, which is the incredible amount of rehab that he has to go through during the week to get himself in a position to play on Sunday. But also, too, he's still making plays. He's still being impactful when he's out in the field. It's unfortunate for him that, when he has a chance to really be the maniac and make an even bigger splash play, he just can't do it because he's limited physically.
He's got 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. Again, that is Hall of Fame type production through 6 weeks. But he has no sacks, 1 QB hit, and only 2 tackles for loss.
Yeah, the tackle for loss stands out because he can do that in a quarter on a healthy ankle.
It's such a fascinating sort of dilemma here of the splash plays are there, but he admitted to us yesterday, at times he looks like a liability.
It's a give and take, without question.
It's such a give and take. And again, he's gutting it out, and the Colts need him because depth at linebacker is not great.
And he had 13 tackles against the Ravens. I mean, he was everything.
Right, and that was the game I was worried about him. I thought, oh boy, he could be exposed playing in space like that, but he stepped up there, and his tackle numbers are not usually at the level that we're used to. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. Our coverage begins 5:30 on Sunday, and obviously Mayte, Coach Rick Venturi, and Lara Overton will have the call 8:20 kickoff. Mayte, have a great weekend, man.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, one final thing. How about this nugget? I got to share this with you guys.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, all right. So you guys will appreciate this. I'm going to put you on the spot. So this is the last time the San Francisco 49ers beat the Colts. The Colts have won 5 straight in the series, but they don't play every year. Obviously, there's a long period of time between meetings once every 4 years.
Sure.
So the Colts have won 5 straight. The last time San Francisco beat the Colts was 2001 at the old RCA Dome. Peyton Manning had a forgettable game. What pop culture football reference came out of that game?
So, full transparency.
We're a day ahead of you, Mayte.
Matt Taylor.
Yesterday, this would have been good.
You know Scotty Johnston, obviously.
Come on now, Mayte.
Scotty was all over it on the pop quiz yesterday. Mark Dykton, do you have the audio?
Give me 1 second.
This offensive line isn't that bad, Mayte. Come on now. We saw the protection. We called the shift.
This isn't JV ball here from 7 to 10 a.m. in the morning.
Playoffs? We'll talk about
I got a list
playoffs.
I got a
You
list
kidding me?
more.
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Mayte, for your penalty here is give us a Mora impression.
I got a more impression.
Oh, come on.
I'll just stick with the bread and butter. Here's Charlie Clifford of the bowl game. Charlie's averaging 2.5 sports hits per broadcast on which TV channel?
See you down in Lagodi, huh?
Yeah.
Don, get back.
The Hoosiers going to keep it
tomorrow,
close Saturday,
Don.
Mayte?
Man, if he can score a touchdown, I mean, it's baby steps. Let's find the end zone in the first half for a change.
Yeah. I'm used to Ben Chappell putting up 30, and then the opposing team scored 50 on IU.
Goodness.
Maybe Micah McFadden should be the offensive coordinator. You know, like that would be. Yeah, maybe there would be a little bit more innovation, but
All-American.
It is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Well, listen. I tried to stump you guys, and you guys are too good for me.
Well, hey, you got pulled.
Now I feel like a horse's blank.
No, trust me. If it wasn't for Scotty, you would have been right over all of our heads here. Matt Taylor, thank you as always.
Thanks,
we'll talk to
brother.
you next Friday, man.
All right, guys. Be well.
Peace.
That's Matt Taylor right there on the Payless Liquors hotline.
Have a good one, Mayte.
Remember,
hey,
we've got the pop quiz here in about 10 minutes. We've already had a 5 for 5er earlier this week. And if you want hope, all 5 are multiple choice on this Friday. Freebie Friday. We've never had 2 5 for 5ers in the same week. So
sounds like me on a finals week. Is it multiple choice? All right, thank God. All right.
So give us a ring here in about 10 minutes for the pop quiz. All right, Big O Tires Sports Center update time.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Yesterday, we hit a lot on in the 9 o'clock hour the injury to Julian Blackmon and him being done for the year, tearing his Achilles at Wednesday's practice. Yesterday, Darius Leonard talked about the loss of the second-year safety.
It's going to be a tough loss for our defense because, there's nobody who's, a ball hawk like he does. And, he has great ball skills. He comes up the field when that's a mishap in the front end. He's there to make the tackle. And, that's going to be tough to find someone to take over his spot. That's a tough loss. And I feel very bad for him.
I think that's pretty spot on from Darius Leonard right there. Again, internally right now, not a lot of obvious answers as we look to the final injury report. I should say the injury report heading into the final practice of the week, Charlie.
Yeah.
What stands out to you?
Well, you have a glimmer of hope that maybe T.Y. Hilton can get out in a limited capacity. He said yesterday he's in a good spot still, though, with stuff to do here leading up to Sunday night. And then just Rocky Scene, in my opinion. I saw him going through a warm-up, or I should say testing the ankle in that fourth quarter, the blowout win over Houston. Would love to see him back in some capacity to give you an option there, if not Isaiah Rodgers, or as you mentioned, Xavier Rhodes popping up with the ankle yesterday. Certainly that'll be a question for Frank Reich early today. Hey, what's going on with Rhodes? Because although I know many Colts fans are upset with his level of play, you certainly
depth
want depth there. So those are my two, or I should say three things to keep an eye on today.
Yeah, so far, no T.Y. Hilton, no Braden Smith, no Kamoko Toure, Rock Yassin, or Jordan Wilkins at practice this week. The big one for the 49ers, arguably the best left tackle in football, has not practiced either of the last 2 days. That would be Trent Williams with an elbow and ankle ailments. Charlie and I have admittedly somehow, some reason why, have put on our weather caps on this Friday. The weather for Sunday night in San Francisco, 61 degrees, 99% chance of rain. Winds of 25 to 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, turn on to Channel 8, countdown to kickoff 11 a.m. Sunday. You'll see myself, Mary Poppins, floating into the bay. I hope we land at the Giants ballpark, a safe landing, but it will be the story leading off to kickoff. And then how do you handle the elements? Advantage Colts on the run game. We've hit that. Advantage Colts turnover margin in terms of playing clean football. But this could be one of those, hey, 5 years down the road. Do you remember that Sunday nighter where they won 9-6 on, a hook
monsoon?
And Michael Badgley, let's keep that in mind here too. You have a kicker who you picked up a week ago, and he's going to have to walk into a nasty environment. That is a huge storyline in my mind.
Scoring could be at a premium. Certainly Sunday night. We'll give our picks here in just a few minutes. All right, Pacers at Wizards tonight, and then the Heat Saturday, first back-to-back of the year. That's the home opener, a gold out over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Saturday night. Both of those teams have won their first two games. The Wizards beat the Raptors by 15 on Wednesday. The Heat beat the Bucks by, 42 last night, something like that?
Is Miami back to its championship caliber play? My question for you, Chris Duarte introduced Saturday 1 to 10, 10 being the loudest. How loud is that roar?
Oh boy, he gets the loudest cheer of any Pacers player. I don't know if it's at a 10, but I'm saying a nice 8.
Get there early, and let's get behind this team. You're going to see plenty of new renovations at Gainbridge as well. I think it's just going to be a really fun start to the home slate.
Yeah, need a split. You got Milwaukee on Monday. The last thing you want to be is 0-4 staring at that Western Conference road trip that begins here.
That's a good point.
In early November. The rotation expanding. That's something I will be watching for these next two nights. You got to think with a back-to-back, you expand it a little bit.
Isaiah Jackson. Play the man.
Right. And, what about Goga? Is this a first-round pick that's already been passed up on the depth chart by Jackson? And now
Carlisle's been very complimentary, so it's not like a doghouse situation where Goga's been in the past. I'm with you. I would love to see both of them on the floor tonight.
Yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye on. All right, Major League Baseball, ALCS, Game 6 is tonight in Houston. They are going for the clinch, 3-2 up. The Astros lead. If there is a Game 7, it will be Saturday in Houston. There will be a Game 6 in the NLCS. The Dodgers, 11. The Braves, 2. Chris Taylor, yard 3 times. A.J. Pollock, homer twice there. Not the guys you maybe would expect. Pollock a little bit more from the Dodgers there. Now that series back to Atlanta with Max Scherzer on the mound. And it sounds like, Charlie, you and I both think the Dodgers will push this at least to 7. If not win the NLCS.
If I'm a Braves fan, this is a must-win. I'm not going back to Los Angeles knowing the first sign of trouble in Game 7, you're going to hear, that tomahawk chop's going to be out. And I don't know, I should say the Braves vibes. I'm just not liking them in a Game 7 situation. Sorry.
Thursday night.
Tangent.
Thursday
Mark Dykton hit my mute button. Minus 10 points.
Yeah, bitter Cubs fan over there.
Yeah.
Thursday night football last night wasn't the most entertaining thing, but still one possession game. 17-14. The Browns beat the Broncos. Broncos cut it to 17-14 with 5 minutes to go. And in that scenario, Charlie, usually the team down, they always get the ball back. But no. D'Ernest Johnson.
D'Ernest.
No answer for him. 146 yards. He had a 3rd and 7 conversion late as well. And the Browns, unfortunately, that under did hit, Mark. So our hope of continuing to hit those overs on Thursday Night Football did not happen there. The Browns now 4-3. The Broncos at 3-4. AFC South games this weekend. The 1 o'clock game, CBS here locally. The Titans hosting the Chiefs. Charlie, that line has continued to shrink. The Titans at home, 4.5-point underdog.
Yeah, you'll see Iron Eagle on that call, and can you roll it back twice after the escape act on Monday night? Tremendous defense from the Titans inside the 10-yard line. That was the difference, not only early, but obviously on the final possession. To steal those two, there would be no more, downtrodden of a just scenario for Colts fans. I mean, I think many penciled in a sweep in the form of Buffalo and Kansas City for those two, but Tennessee, as you said, ball's in their court, man. They've been fantastic, as Mayte said.
We mentioned it earlier. The rest of the way for the Titans, they have the 3rd easiest schedule in the NFL. The Colts have the 15th easiest. So I know on paper, we've said for several weeks now, Titans have this game, Titans have that game. That's about to turn, when you look at a schedule strength
great nugget
standpoint. The Cardinals are favored by 17.5 over the Fighting Davis Mills and the Houston Texans. The Jags have a bye. College football, we've got some big picks to make. Purdue hosting Wisconsin, 3.5-point underdog at home there. You mentioned it earlier, 2003, the last time Purdue's beaten Wisconsin?
Yeah, 17 years, I think 14 matchups. And again, David Bell is your outlier. Wisconsin's offensive struggles. If you can stop that rushing attack, you're going to give yourself a chance. And the crowd, I expected to be on near that Ohio State level we saw 3 years ago with what was obviously the pinnacle of the Braum era to this point.
For the athletic scribers out there, great piece on David Bell. I'm about halfway through right now. Good to see him getting some deserved pub. We tried to have him on the show earlier this week. Unfortunately, we did not hear back from Purdue, but wanted to get David Bell on the show. IU hosting Ohio State. That is 7:30 Saturday night. Can Micah McFadden be the offensive coordinator, says Matt Taylor. That's about the question that you have right now with the Hoosiers. We'll see.
I'm waiting for your pick on that one, too.
How hostile that environment is. Ohio State has not beaten IU in my lifetime.
It's not going to change on Saturday, unfortunately.
I'll be fair there. Notre Dame USC also. That's a lot of channel changer clicking. Notre Dame USC, at least for me. IU Ohio State and Pacers Heat.
You get multiple TVs going at the Bowen abode, or you have dual options, or no?
If we did that, I think I'd
back
be
in the day.
Single parenting Rosie.
You're not going to the game on Saturday?
It'll be dicey for me.
Oh boy!
It'll be dicey for me there, trying to juggle all of those. All right, Scotty J has entered the studio. I think a fog machine was playing as Scotty Johnson got in the studio here for
bring
the
him
pop
out,
quiz.
bring him out.
Charlie Clifford, doable?
I liked yesterday's better. I got to be honest.
You do have 5 multiple choices.
You do. I'm never closing the door on a little Friday magic, but yesterday was a tad easier.
It's a freebie Friday, though. Correct. Freebie Friday. Thanks to Jiffy Lube. The prize pack will be given away no matter what, and we'll see if history can be made with another 545 or 317-239-1070. Pop quiz time before we give our Friday picks here. Fan Morning Show.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Join us on The Fan and listen to Jason Hammer on You Bet with Bet Rivers, 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursdays, where you can get all the betting advice you would ever need.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
You know you worked hard to build your wealth. You also know one must plan for the twists and turns ahead. The children growing up, empty nest realities, and the joys of retirement. There's something else you need to know. You're not alone in this. You have a wealth management partner in Edelman Financial Engines to work with you every step of the way. Whether it's personalized advice or our modeling of over 38,000 investments monthly to keep you current and focused. It also helps to know that we use a cost-effective, integrated approach to wealth planning. From tax-optimized portfolios to life-focused advice for retirement and the possibilities ahead. If you're asking, what more can I do to take my wealth potential to the next level? Call to schedule a free, no-obligation meeting with an Edelman Financial Engines advisor who knows what that takes. Call 833-PLAN-EFE or visit planefe.com today.
All right, NFL Week 7 continues on, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Now, the Colts and Niners are not on until Sunday night, so if you've got your eyes on another game, I personally have Chiefs-Titans on my brain. Here's a parlay for you. 2 average defenses at best. I like the over in total points, which last I checked was 57.5. Travis Kelce as an anytime touchdown scorer, Tyreek Hill as a 2-touchdown scorer, and the over in A.J. Brown receiving yards, a $10 bet will pay you out over $201. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook. Get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. That's one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel. Plus, they have lightning-fast payouts where you get winnings in as little as 24 hours, and their app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code MARK to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on the Sunday afternoon matchup between the Houston Texans and Arizona Cardinals. Win $150 on just a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code MARK so they know I sent you, MARC, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Are you an HVAC technician, plumber, or sewer and drain specialist? Are you dissatisfied with your current employer? Have you been laid off or had your hours reduced now that the busy season is ending? Then call Vasey Commercial Facility Solutions. They're hiring experienced industrial commercial technicians. Get full benefits and true work-life balance. Call Vasey now at 317-873-2512. That's Vasey, 317-873-2512. Or go to Vasey.com to learn more.
It's time for 18,000 screaming Pacer fans to pack Gamebridge Fieldhouse. It's opening night, presented by Gamebridge, Saturday at 7 p.m. Catch the Pacers battle the Miami Heat with all fans attending the game receiving a gold-out Pacers t-shirt. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. Tickets start at just $9 to be part of the gold-out. Pacers, Heat, opening night, Saturday, 7 p.m.
Taylor right up the gut. He's in there. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y.
That felt good.
The Colts played better. It's the Colts knocking off the Texans.
The Colts return to primetime hoping for a better ending. It's a Sunday night matchup with the 49ers in San Francisco. Sunday night. Our coverage starts at 5:30. Kickoff with Matt Taylor at 8:30.
Jonathan Taylor scoots into the end zone. Touchdown. 30-3.
Your home for Colts football. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Fan Morning Show's Pop Quiz with Kevin Bowen. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
I haven't been this nervous since the Bush Push game.
16-year anniversary, KB, this weekend.
Loudest sporting event I've ever been to.
As you pointed out, Tom Zibikowski's punt return.
That was the loudest moment.
I will never be over that loss, and I'm okay with that.
That stadium, it's not honestly one of the better college football environments. I'll be full
No.
transparency there.
The pageantry, sure, but the overall, no.
Yeah, and you get USC into that arena, and then it speaks for itself. So, yeah, all right, pop quiz, though. 5 for 5 on Tuesday. Who was it? Jackson? I'm trying to forget who it was.
It was Jackson. Yep.
Just an incredible effort. Charlie Clifford yesterday, what did we get? We got one question in, and then we had a...
Yeah, we had two for 5, and tripped up on some easy ones that if you were either watching the Pacer game or listening, you would have gotten to question 5. And now, unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Today, you're going to get 5 multiple choicers, which is not always a given from Scotty. So that is hope, and that's what you can hope for here on Freebie Friday.
An ounce of empathy from Scotty.
Yes, exactly. Charlie Clifford, a number 1 through 8.
Give me 4. Sam Ellinger, who won the battle that wasn't apparently.
See the backup starting next week?
I don't know.
That would be Austin, not Stone Cold
Great
Steve
question.
Austin, but it's Austin. Austin, who we got?
Hi.
Hey,
Good
man.
morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Happy Friday.
I'm good. Happy Friday.
Austin, we had a 5 for 5er on Tuesday. We've never had 2 in a row in 1 week.
I'm pulling for you, man.
All right.
Are you in traffic?
I am not. I'm actually I'm at work, and we have a bunch of cars. We're a car dealership.
I love it, Austin. Well, let's see if we can continue to honk that horn. Charlie Clifford, hit him with numero uno.
Yeah, okay, here we go, Austin. Chris Taylor, 3 homers last night. The Dodgers stay alive in the NLCS. The 12th 3-homer game in postseason history. The only other Dodger to hit 3 in a playoff game, and I screwed this up because I said it was someone, more recently, back in the early 2000s. Here are your options. Gil Hodges, Duke Snider, Ron Say, Kike Hernandez, I should say. Who do you got there?
Let's go with Kike Hernandez.
Okay.
That's a start right there, yep. Austin. You're out of the gate. The Browns beat the Broncos on Thursday Night Football last night. Who was the last Denver quarterback to lose a game in Cleveland? Peyton Manning, Tim Tebow, John Elway, Craig Morton.
Let's go Tim Tebow.
Okay. Steph Curry, Austin, 45 last night. Warriors beat the Clippers. Steph's 25th game of 45 or more, his 6th since turning 33 last March.
Dude's incredible.
Only 2 other players have had more before turning 33. Okay, that's 45-point nights. Michael Jordan had 11 45-point nights following his 33rd birthday. Who is second? So 45 north of 33. Is it A, Bernard King, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe, or Wilt Chamberlain?
Let's go with Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant.
Okay, that was a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. With their win in L.A. last night, the Warriors became just the second team in NBA history to open its season with back-to-back wins over the Lakers and Clippers in either order. What a hard one, Scotty. Who was the only other team to open the season with wins over the 2 L.A. teams in their first 2 games?
Who knows this, Scotty?
Trailblazers, Jazz, Warriors, or Supersonics?
Who knows this?
Could you repeat the options, please?
Yeah, Trailblazers, Jazz, Warriors, Supersonics. I'm going to give you a hint, all right, Austin?
All right.
If you've listened to the show, this is the team that I have predicted to make it to the finals out of the West. So
Utah Jazz.
Ooh, hey, pays to listen, folks.
Let's go.
Pays to listen, Austin.
Austin, doesn't cost anything to hustle. Well done. All right, 15 years ago today, Fernando Alonso successfully defended his Formula One championship. I can't believe it's been that long. One of my favorites at the track. He finished second at the Brazilian Grand Prix to do so. The back-to-back titles in 05 and 06 for Alonso, the only 2 F1 championships in his career. What team was he driving for when he won both? Was it McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, Renault, or BMW? Who was it there?
Well, I don't know much about racing, but I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say BMW.
Okay.
All right, Austin. Let's see how he did. That was a lot harder than I thought. I shouldn't have underestimated Scotty there. All right, number 1, Chris Taylor hit 3 homers last night as the Dodgers stayed alive in the NLCS. It was the 12th 3-home run game in postseason history. Name the only other Dodger to hit 3 homers. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry, Charlie. The answer?
Kike Hernandez, just 2017 against the Cubs, Game 5.
Boom, baby! All right, let's just go to number 2. The Browns beat the Broncos on Thursday Night Football last night. The last Denver QB to lose a game in Cleveland. He gave it a very good guess. Part of me thought, boy, maybe outside the box.
Yeah.
It's probably been a while. He went with the one and only Jesus Christ on earth, Tim Tebow.
Sorry, man. John Elway, 89 was your correct answer there.
You blew it! You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
You lose! Good day, sir!
Tony, get your bag and get the hell out of here.
Let's play football.
It's been a while. Here come the Red Legs.
Oldie but a goodie.
I forgot about that one, Mark. That's a good Friday comment there. Steph Curry, 45 in the Warriors win over the Clippers last night. MJ has the most 45-point games before his 33rd birthday. He had 11. Second place on this list. Austin said the Black Mamba Kobe.
No, Bernard King. I'm with you, Austin. I would have gone Tebow. I would have gone Kobe as well. That's tough back-to-back.
See, I probably would have gone Wilt.
Sure. Austin, call back. You won the Jiffy Lube prize back even though you didn't go 5 for 5.
Yep.
Call back.
Austin,
you work at a car dealership. Come on, man.
Friday, man.
Yeah.
He probably gets those for free. Anyways,
I don't want it.
It was the Jazz in 2000-2001 who started the season with wins over the Lakers and Clippers.
That's an all-timer right there.
Yeah, and then Reno for Fernando Alonso.
Renault,
there. Not BMW.
No. And again, 15 years back, no layup there either.
Is Colton Herta going to F1, man? Am I seeing
there
this?
Are
there
serious,
whispers?
Basically, what sounds like is going to happen is Andretti's going to get in as early as this year, and Herta will be over there.
Selfishly, I hate that.
That's unconfirmed, but that is the way things are looking, without a question. And what a move for Andretti Autos. I mean, it will be interesting to see the trickle-down effect both in the States and across the pond, but Herta's talent is without question. I think it would give a huge boost, which F1's already seen it due to the Netflix series and many other factors. You could have him in the picture in F1 for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that would be a bummer, selfishly, again, from an IndyCar standpoint of Herta.
It's been
going over there. All right, let's go to our picks when we come back. We've got to give our usuals. Of course, it's the three main state schools here, Notre Dame, IU, and Purdue, Colts, 49ers, and then any other NFL college games that we like as well.
Yes.
Mark Dykton, Charlie Clifford, Kevin Bowen throwing some picks at you. We come back next.
Boost and Cricket charge more for unlimited 5G. Metro doesn't. Introducing the big 5G upgrade from Metro by T-Mobile. Just $25 a month gets you unlimited 5G and a free 5G smartphone. That's half the price of Boost and Cricket's top plans. So ditch your overpriced connections and switch to Metro, the leader in prepaid. Experience 5G speed at no extra cost and step up big time with the big 5G upgrade. Get one line of unlimited 5G smartphone data plus a free Samsung Galaxy 5G when you trade in. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. Rule your day with 5G. Only at Metro. Limited time in-store only. If congested data users greater than 35 gigabytes per month notice lower speeds, and Metro customers notice lower speeds versus T-Mobile due to deprioritization. Leader based on prepaid subs June 2021. Save half based on one-line Boost and Cricket unlimited plan. See store for details.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Deedle Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdeedle.com. That is markdietel.com. A lot of people doing a lot of moving and shaking right now in the housing market. Here's the one thing you need to know. You have to go with the best, and the best is Mark Deedle, and this is what I love the most, because he's going to guarantee multiple offers in 3 days, or he is going to sell it for free. So whether you're downsizing or maybe you're upgrading, Mark Deedle is the one to call. Also, Rhonda on the east side of Indianapolis wanted to take advantage of a hot market and sell her rental property. She gave Mark a call, and he delivered as promised. That's exactly what he does. It's Mark Deedle Realty today. Tell him I sent you. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. Online, markdeedle.com. That's markdietel.com today.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to betrivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
Hey, it's JMV here, and people ask me all the time, how can we get a world-class wine at an affordable price delivered right to our door in the safety of our own home? And I say, here's your answer. Cameron Hughes Wine has a unique business model. In fact, they're sourcing top-rated wines directly from the best wineries around the world. Luxury wines at affordable prices. These are wines at an already amazing value for the price. And today, you can get top-rated, award-winning wines at incredible savings. Cameron Hughes is offering a deal exclusively to my listeners, so listen up. 20% off and free shipping on 3 or more bottles. Top-rated, award-winning wines at chwine.com. Promo code JMV for 20% off 3 bottles or more plus free shipping. chwine.com. Promo code JMV.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Michael. But since he is so focused on growing his career, we hired an actor to read his story.
If you want a job where you get out as much as you put in, Geico is the best place to work. Plus, we promote from within, so there are no ceilings placed on your opportunities.
They even offer parental leave to full-time employees. So there's nothing stopping him from going all the way to the top. But not too high. He's scared of heights.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
The Colts head to San Francisco for a Sunday night football showdown. The coverage begins at 5:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football for the Colts this week. 8:20 kickoff. Saw Jim Irsay tweeted out earlier, favorite Colts Sunday night memory.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people would say 4th and 2, 2009, Colts Patriots. And really, that was nationally, I think, had a little bit of staying power in terms of memorable games. I go back to the Mathis sack of Peyton in 2013, Peyton's first game back. That, to me, probably stands out. I know what is the least favorite Sunday Night Football memory, boys, and I think the anniversary was earlier this week.
Whalen?
Griff Whalen, Colt Anderson, baby. Fake punt action against the Patriots.
Just don't hike it. Whatever you
Do you think the Colts are grounded from that? You know, they haven't been Sunday night, Monday night home since that game.
Wow.
You think the NFL said you embarrassed us with attempting that play and we are not grading you?
Well, I know if Irsay had a subtweet coming, it would be, what the heck do we need to do to get a prime timer back here? And I agree with that. That's ridiculous at this point.
Before we give our picks, I do want to shout out to the Fighting Colleen Bowens. The Ball State Cardinals homecoming. They've got Miami of Ohio.
I was going to go on this game anyways.
Oh, okay. All right. That's on me.
No.
Okay. I'll wait.
She takes precedent. Are you kidding me?
I'll wait on that. Mark?
The head of the house.
Let's hear our pick results through, about a month and a half of football season.
Well, first off, shout out to Jeremiah Johnson. Almost nailed the Colts-Texans score from last week. He said 31-3.
JJ, he did nail it, right?
That's it. That was the score.
It was something. He was off by
close.
Off by a point. Yeah. Wow. Look at JJ, the multitasker.
Always the glass half full with JJ. We need more people like him.
but season totals through 6 weeks. Kev, leader in the clubhouse, 26-12, went 4-2 last week.
Wow.
I'm 26-17. I had a rough 3-4 last week, and then the rotating guests hosts have gone a combined 26-17, went 5-4 last week because we had Jake and Jeremiah making picks.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. My Jags money line in London. That was
a nice one.
That was my big one last week there. Okay, let's
Snuck
start
that in there.
College football. Charlie Clifford, what college football locks before we get into the local teams?
Yeah, I like Cincinnati. The line is massive, 28 against Navy, but the Bearcats are getting into this realm of that score matters. You're going to have the foot on the gas as much as you can, trying to hold that second spot in the college football rankings.
Navy's not playing keep away too much?
That is the concern. Time of possession. How many series are you going to get? But 1-5, this is not a Navy team that, they've been respectable in recent. They're not to that level, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Bearcats above the 20. I know that might sound insane, but that's where I'm at to start.
I am going to go Iowa State +7 over Oklahoma State. I like them to cover there. I like Toledo. Speaking of Mack games, Toledo -2 over Western Michigan. Mark Dykton?
I like Oregon, who is +1 against UCLA.
That was interesting to me as well.
Yep.
Simple.
Yeah, and that's basic. At UCLA, right?
Yes.
Win by 2.
Charlie, another college football pick?
Yeah, a little less conversation, a little more action, please. I will go back to your game that you mentioned, Ball State, Miami of Ohio. Ball State, a 5-point dog. Or I should say, where is this line? I just lost it.
I think it is right around 5.
Yeah, I like the Cards. They've been playing much better in my alma mater, Miami. I'm sorry, I'm taking the Cards in that one at home. Mike New's going to win.
Charlie Clifford.
Yeah,
there.
Yep. Mike New's going to keep it rolling, man.
All right, NFL picks. Mark Dykton, Week 7. Give us some locks.
I like the Falcons to cover -2.5 against the Dolphins. This is the crazy. I'm going out on a limb here. I like the Lions to cover +16 against the Rams. It's a revenge game for Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. I think the Lions keep pace. I think they can cover that +16.
Someone's biting Dan Campbell's knee.
I know. And the Bucs to cover -12.5 against the Bears. The Bears' offense cannot score at the moment.
And I think your boys.
Tom Brady is going to, I'm telling you, he's throwing up the 4 fingers when he throws his 4th touchdown, and they're going to roll on Sunday against the Bears.
All right, I've got the reverse. I've got the Dolphins to cover. I worry about a little bit of a London hangover, but I'm going to believe in the Dolphins getting it back on track against the Falcons.
Wow.
I like the Jets to cover against the Patriots, +7, and the Raiders to cover against the Eagles, -3.
Interesting. I'm keeping with the college football trend here. We saw the Texans last week. They were a 17.5-point dog. I'm taking Arizona. I think that game is blowout city. There's just nothing I saw from Houston, especially with the game being in Arizona. Kyler, fantasy day. I'm going Arizona on that one. That's my sure bet.
All right, let's start at Rosse. The first one, Purdue, 3.5-point underdog here in their home stadium. Mark Dykton, where are you going?
I have Purdue over Wisconsin, 24-17.
Just outright. Mm-hmm. No questions asked.
Charlie?
I'll follow Mark. The time is now for David Bell and Jeff Brom. That streak is going to be snapped. I will take Purdue as a winner as well.
Make it 3 for 3, 24-20. Guys, Wisconsin is not good, especially offensively. Not good at all. Worry a little bit about Purdue moving it, but still, I'll go with 24-20 in Ross.
Wow.
All right, down to Bloomington. I'll start off. I got Ohio State 30, but I've got IU scoring 20. I don't know how they score 20. I think the defense or special team sets up a score. I think Ohio State overlooks it with Penn State next week, so a little bit closer than the pundits in Vegas think.
I disagree. Ohio State doesn't have the ability to overlook anyone, just where you're at, already a loss in the college football playoff situation. I don't think IU covers that 21, man. I think this is bad going to worse, unfortunately, for Tom Allen. I'll double down on what I said yesterday. I'm not a fan of what we've seen from Jack Tuttle so far.
Buckeyes over IU 40-10.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
you guys are haters.
I'm in the same neighborhood.
Quickly in South Bend, I've got Notre Dame 30, USC 20. I say Notre Dame covers. O-line played better last game out.
I'm with you there. I'll piggyback you there. I'm not going to fight you on everything today.
Thank you, Charlie.
Notre Dame covers and beats USC 31-20.
All right, Colts and 49ers now. 4.5's the spread. We got less than a minute. Mark Dykton.
Colts win on the ground with Jonathan Taylor. Give me 27-24.
Colts win. This is a historic, ugly one. 14-12. It's going to be nasty, man. I'm telling you, this is going to be an epic one.
What did Matt Taylor call it earlier? A goggle something or other? What was the phrase he used?
Goulash? I don't know what he said.
Goulash, something like that.
Got some hog mollish.
Again, I don't know how these teams get to these points, but it's 24-20. Jonathan Taylor, that jersey will look browner than brown.
You're wearing the whites, right?
Wearing the whites. Channeling his Wisconsin days.
Camouflage.
I do like San Francisco's defense, but I think the Colts make enough plays. Although the Julian Blackmon injury, I do really worry about. Charlie Clifford, thank you, man.
Hey, man.
Enjoyed
Pleasure.
it. It'll be
Appreciate
Brendan King and myself on Monday. Join us, 7 a.m.